no placards, like no country like placards. Just use one of these.
And you can get one of the waters.
We're good to stream, right? From there entering.
Sorry?
We're good to stream.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I can just cut it anyway.
Okay, nice.
Okay, and then like, if once Manchury, like that. Wait. We don't have to give it out though. Like now, we give it out during roll call.
Yeah. I'm gonna change.
Thanks, Barrett. Okay, can I sit here? Because
Okay.
yeah, I might need to yeah.
Wait.
Just sitting with you, right? Different movies and everything. Sister Dawn.
Sister Dawn.
Yeah. What's okay. I love
Yeah. You good?
and so you're sitting with me? No.
Finish you nine. Ah.
Yeah, this is nice.
Okay. Oh, I think the thing like that.
Cannot say why. Have you joined this? Yeah. Yeah.
For what?
Look at the camera.
Okay.
That's one
Okay,
screen. You can pin me. You can pin.
Okay, so I'm making everyone go.
Okay.
Then
There, you see, that's me. Right?
I think
Oh,
let's
okay.
meet first,
Okay.
by the way, since we're in.
Secretary for this mandate. Thank you all so much for coming here today. It's a great privilege to be able to represent your association and the voices of your members at the Regional Assembly, which is the highest decision-making body of IPSF APRO. So I just want to say a big welcome to you all and congratulations on being selected as official delegates for your association. Before we officially begin, there's just a few things I'd like to just take notice of. So the first and foremost is our code of conduct forms. So if you have not signed a code of conduct form, either digitally or physically, please do so during our next break. Make sure it come up to the front as we have some copies here and make sure that you sign a code of conduct. This is very important for us because it's just ensuring that you will be behaving appropriately and professionally during the Regional Assembly. A couple other things, when you are making comments or asking questions, please make sure to thank the chair. So usually that would be Bill for most of the time, to thank him for the floor. And then you want to start off by saying your name and association. So let's say we have Haruto here from APS Japan. So if he asked a question, he would say, thank you, Bill, for the floor. My name is Haruto from APS Japan. And then you'd say your question or comment. Please make sure anything that you, like any comments or questions are addressed to the chairperson and not the speaker. Yeah, I think that's most of it. I will obviously say if there's anything else. Oh yes, of course, you're welcome to eat and have snacks or drinks during RA as well. So yes, that's all from me, and I think we'll get ready to start. So this, the 25th Regional Assembly of the Asian Pacific Regional Office of the International Pharmaceutical Students Federation will now come to order. Okay, so before we go into the first motion, we're just going to do a few practice or mock motions. So I'll just be reading it out. So, one second. This, the 25th IPSF Development Fund, whenever do not introduce themselves by their name, a member organization when the floor is given to them. And shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. We're open for discussion. If anyone wants to make a comment, this is where you would your comments, like on that Google Form. Maybe someone can do it just for practice.
Google Forms, just not sure technical. So yeah. Okay, we have any comments?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, it's direct comments.
Okay, so I'll quickly give a notice about the comments as well. So on the Google form, you'll see there's two types. There's new and direct. If you want to ask like a new question to start an idea or conversation, then you pick new comment. You'd only pick a direct comment if you wanted to gather more information about a new comment that someone just said. So let's think of an example.
Can give it to the new comment.
Okay, so 1 second, sorry.
It's tiny. Yeah. That's the
So I think, so we have John Moises Di Casa from FJC PPHA Philippines. You have a direct comment? Okay, so then that means we can remove that from the speaker.
You can mention that's the drop as well.
Yeah, so that would be a drop. So then that would be where we would delete that row for the speakers list. Yes. Okay, and then Min Jae Kwon from KNX Republic of Korea.
So we need someone to pass.
Yeah.
But
I
I'm not sure if it's
I
on.
think that would be a drop in that case. Okay, so now we have Patricia Heidi from IPSF
Everything.
APRO. Hi. So, oh, I should use my name, right? Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Bill. My name is Heidi, IPSF APRO, RO this Monday.
Give a comment to the motion.
€1 is too low. Thank you. Thank you, Heidi, for your comments. We now move on to John Moses Decata from FJC PPHA Philippines. So scrutineers, that's when you would pass the microphone. And maybe if you can raise your hand when you're
Being called.
if you're being called out.
Yeah.
Okay, no mind.
Oh, I think it's not turned on.
You can just keep that. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Chair, Moises Carta from FGC PPG Philippines. I think that paying €1 every time we don't say our name and member organization is considered as valid since this is a formal event. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Moses, for your comments. We can now remove that from the speaker list, please. Great. So I'll ask if there's any more questions that people would like to raise from the floor. I see none. Then we can now proceed to voting. So what I might do is we'll start officially now with the roll call. So hopefully that gave you a bit of an idea of like how to do the comments. So give me 1 second. So when I call out your association name, please raise up your hand and our scrutineers will be giving out the voting cards. So scrutineers, if you can get the voting cards ready, just hope, so then you can hand them out. So Maps India, Isma Farsi Indonesia, Inzapso New Zealand, of Korea, NUSPS Singapore, PSAT Thailand, and then we're going to members and association. So IPSF India, BMF UI Indonesia, BMF Air Indonesia, BIM Kemfa UGM Indonesia, BIM Kemafa Umpad Indonesia, BMF USD Indonesia, HMF AP ITB Indonesia, JPHPI Philippines, UFA Philippines, PSA Taiwan. Okay, thank you.
No. Visualize things you need to do. You can go on.
Just to practice again.
Yeah, okay, so now that we've given out all the voting cards for the full members, we'll just do one more practice motion, so mock motion, just to practice the voting. So Nadine, if we could go on to the next mock motion, yeah.
No, sorry.
Sorry, we're just having a little bit of technical. If you could give me.
Mhm.
Thank you. This, the 25th IPSF Regional Assembly mandates that every latecomer to the RA shall dance in front of the Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has. So again, if you'd like to make any comments, please use that Google form we sent out. I see none, so I'll close the floor to discussion and we'll move on to voting. So if anyone is against this motion, please raise up your voting cards. So if you could please raise up your voting cards if you are against this motion. The scrutineer, this is where you'll be counting up the against motion, the number of cards against.
Then there will be time and then we'll be sent.
So I see 6 against, thank you. So now we'll move on to, sorry. Anyone who would like to vote for this motion, please raise your voting cards. So I see 5 full members voting for. Thank you. So would anyone like to vote abstain? Would anyone like to abstain this motion? I see none. Thank you. So if you give me 1 second as we wait for the results. Thank you for all voting. So the results are 5 for, 6 against, and 0 abstain. By simple majority, this motion was not carried through.
Not
Oh,
sure.
yeah, sorry.
If you give me 1 second.
Oh, it's shutting on.
Yes, coming in those days. It's okay. I can do it. What we'll do is-
And then, well, I'm sorry, then we
Okay, so the results should show up on there. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of how we'll do the motions. I will just quickly mention about the amount of full votes we have. So we have 11 votes. The strength of the House today is 11. So simple majority will be 7 votes required. And sorry, give me 1 second to do math. And the 2/3 majority required would be 8. Thank you. So now I would like to officially move on to motion 1. So this, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly appoints Mr. Bill Wilson Abel-John as chairperson of the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. I now open the floor for any comments. I see none, so I'll now. So is there anyone who would like to vote against this motion? Oh, sorry. Anyone who would like to vote against this motion? I see none. Is there anyone who would like to vote for this motion? Please raise your voting cards now. have a motion passed unanimously with 11 votes for. I now pass the floor. I now pass the chair to Bill.
Okay, thank you, Amy. So now we'll be moving on to the next motion. Okay, motion number 2. This, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly appoints Ms. Amy Kramer, Rafi Prayoga Anugrah, Jashana Trisha Rhea L. Masingkap, Cheng Chilin, Kiranadinda Sakina, Altalin Gloria Panjaitan, Eva Aurelia Darmawan, and Erlita Puspa Kinantias as members of the Motions Committee for the duration of this Regional Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. I open the floor now for discussion. If there are no more comments, I will be closing the floor. And again, now we will be voting for motion number 2. This, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly appoints Ms. Amy Kramer, Rafi Prayoga Anugrah, Jashana Trisha Rhea L. Masingkap, Cheng Chilin, Kiranadinda Sakina, Alphalin Gloria Panjaitan, Eva Aurelia Darmawan, and Erlita Puspa Kinantias, members of the Motions Committee for the duration of this Regional Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. I see none. All those who abstain, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those for, please raise your voting cards. Okay, so we have 11 votes for. We'll just wait for the motions to happen. Okay, so with the voting results, we have 11 votes for, 0 against, and 0 abstain. Motion carried. We're moving on to motion number 3. Motion number 3, this, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly appoints Kiranadinda Sakina, Rafi Prayoga Anugrah, Jashana Trisha Rhea L. Masingkap, Putri Adristi Arundaya Iriana, Cheng Chilin, Alphalin Gloria Panjaitan, Eva Aurelia Darmawan, Erlita Puspa Kinanti, and Amy Kramer as scrutineers for the duration of this Regional Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. I open the floor now for any discussion. If there are no comments, I close the floor. And now we'll be voting on motion number 3. This, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly appoints Kiranadinda Sakina, Rafi Prayoga Anugrah, Jashana Trisha Rhea L. Masingkap, Putri Adristi Arundaya Iriana, Cheng Chilin, Alphalin Gloria Panjaitan, Eva Aurelia Darmawan, Erlita Puspa Kinanti, and Amy Kramer as scrutineers for the duration of this Regional Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. All those voting against, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those voting to abstain, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those who are for, please raise your voting cards. I see 11. So we have 11 votes for, 0 against, and 0 abstain. Motion carried. We'll be moving on to the next motion, motion number 4. This, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts Rafi Prayoga Anugrah, Jashana Trisha Rhea L. Masingkap, Cheng Chilin, Valencia Kusuma Wijaya, Cheng Chilin, Amy Kramer, Erlita Puspa Kinanti, and Eva Aurelia Darmawan for the duration of this Regional Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. I open the floor now for discussion. If there are no comments, I'll be closing the floor for discussion. And now we'll be voting for motion number 4. This, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts Rafi Prayoga Anugrah, Jashana Trisha Rhea L. Masingkap, Cheng Chilin, Valencia Kusuma Wijaya, Cheng Chilin, Amy Kramer, Erlita Puspa Kinanti, and Eva Aurelia Darmawan for the duration of this Regional Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. All those voting against, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those voting abstain, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those voting for, please raise your voting cards. I see 11. Results are out. We have 11 for, 0 against, and 0 abstain. Motion carried. We'll be moving on to the next motion, motion number 5. This, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly, accepts and adopts the agenda of this regional assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. I open the floor now for any discussion. If there are no comments, I will now be closing the floor. We will now be voting for motion number 5. This, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly, accepts and adopts the agenda of this regional assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. All those voting against? I see none. All those voting abstain, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those voting for, please raise your voting cards. Okay, I see 11. The results are out. We have 11 votes for, 0 against, and 0 abstain. Motion carried. We'll be moving on to the next motion, motion number 6. This, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly, accepts and adopts the minutes of the 24th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly. I open the floor now for discussion. If there are no comments, I close the floor for discussion. We will now be voting on motion number 6. This, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly, accepts and adopts the minutes of the 24th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly. All those voting against, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those voting for, please raise your voting cards. I see 11. Results are out. We have 11 votes for, 0 against, and 0 abstain. Motion carried unanimously. We will now be moving on to the next motion, motion number 7. This 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the annual report of the chairperson of the IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office for 2022 to 23. I will now be giving the floor to Ms. Amy Kramer, Regional Secretary.
Thank you, Bill, for the floor. I'd like to ask if we can please share the Bill's annual report on the screen, please.
I'll go there. I'll go there.
I think we can move to the next one.
So we're just sorting out a couple of technicals, won't be too long. Thank you for your patience. Okay, great. I'll now be passing the floor to Bill, who will present his annual report.
Thank you, Chair, for the floor. Hi everyone, I'm Bill. IPSF APRO chairperson for this mandate. So we are sharing my annual report, and you can also find it in the Google Drive, available for all official delegates. I just want to say, we have an ambitious goal of moving forward through synergy and collaboration with no one left behind. So I came into this mandate thinking that we want to leverage ourselves as pharmacy students now and go back to the offline mandate, making sure that we're able to collaborate with a lot of organizations, since we do know that multilateralism is something that we must emphasize. And in addition to this, we are focusing on health equity, as during the COVID-19 pandemic, during the recovery, we saw that it wasn't equal within and across countries within the Asia Pacific. That's why for the theme of moving forward through synergy and collaboration, you can find it in my annual report. I categorized all of my projects, all of my activities here. And so I'll be going over some of the highlight projects for each main aspect. So first, for moving forward, making sure that we have high yield projects and high yield activities for the regional office. Some of my projects we have been able to utilize a new communication platform, Discord, for easier referencing of our IPSF APRO projects. And also for moving forward, we have been able to have several high yield projects. I think something that I really want to focus on is our interprofessional AMR awareness hackathon. We have been able to collaborate with the International Veterinary Students Association, International for this one. And through this, we have been able to also foster strong collaboration and strong partnership. And we have been working for an annual working plan with these organizations for the regional office specifically. And also for moving forward, we have also been able to have face-to-face events back. So we were able to do leaders in training, and also we have been able to do APPS. And we have also been able to go to physical invitations to our member organizations events. And also, in addition to this, we have been able to put in place mechanisms for feedback for the IPSF APRO team, mainly coming from CPs, SEOs, MOs, and also our IPSF APRO team. Additionally, for this, we have been able to discuss ways to move forward with on-the-ground health approaches, specifically with the WHO Sierra Regional Committee meeting. Students, medical professionals, and other healthcare professionals within Southeast Asia to discuss how we can leverage engagement for these events. We have also been able to promote genuine member involvement in our policy writing, especially since we have been able to include the winners of the previous policy advocacy competition as co-drafters, co-authors of our drafts. We be able to continue with our advocacy competition for IPSF APRO. And then also we have been able to co-lead two sessions of the UN ECOSOC Youth Forum. This is mainly for the thematic session on SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, and also the regional session on the Asia Pacific Regional Office. And then going on to my second main category, which is true synergy and collaboration. As I mentioned, this has been something I really wanted to focus on. I really want there to be partnerships within Asia Pacific Regional Office, within IPSF and also outside of IPSF, with healthcare student organizations and also general youth organizations. So for this, we have been able to organize meetings and discussions with other regional chairs, as we do see that there are best practices that can be shared all around IPSF that we can integrate into each regional office. The result of this was a joint policy session, policy training topic with EMRO, and also right now we are co-drafting policy statements with IPSF Europe and IPSF APRO. I was also able to connect IPSF APRO with the IPSF Executive Committee by joining all executive meetings, EM1 online and also EM2 in Den Haag, Netherlands. And also I will be going to EM3 in Bali, Indonesia. Yep. And also we have been able to initiate socializing sessions within IPSF APRO so that we are able to give more opportunities for networking and external collaboration within our member organizations. And we have been able to coordinate with a specific healthcare organization called Alliance for Health Promotion for internships and also for assistance to their general meeting. And also for this, for in terms of internships, we have been co-leading the Amelie internship with IPSF Global. So Amelie was a Singaporean-based gut microbe company that offered paid internships to IPSF Global members. And then lastly, with no one left behind, mainly making IPSF APRO more accessible and making sure that everyone is aware of what IPSF APRO is. We were able to supervise and create the implementation of IPSF APRO CP trainings. We were also able to have our one-on-one meetings with IPSF APRO MOs. We had socializing sessions and training sessions within the IPSF APRO team. And there were also specific portfolio-based workshops that were carried on. Additionally, we are continuing with awards for Best CP and Best MO for IPSF APRO. And we supported new and inactive member organizations through equitable communication and also by having them join our IPSF APRO mentorship program. Also for this, we are supporting the outlook for new member associations in IPSF APRO, namely Sri Lanka and Brunei Darussalam, Fiji as well. We have been in contact with them and we provided membership grants, project grants, and APPS grants for IPSF APRO this year. So all of the other projects you can look into my annual report. So I'll be moving on now to my past travels. So I visited several cities and countries during this mandate. In my role as chairperson of Asia Pacific Regional Office, I went to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia for the PAPA Congress, Seoul, South Korea for KNAP's KPLC and NC, Manila, Philippines for their Philippine Pharmacy Summit, Den Haag, Netherlands for EM2, Taipei to meet with some executives of PSA Taiwan, Surabaya, Indonesia for an IPSF APRO face-to-face meeting, Yogyakarta, Indonesia to conduct an APPS checkup visit, Geneva, Switzerland for the World Health Assembly. If we can go to the next page, please. Thank you. And lastly, Yogyakarta, Indonesia to support and attend IPSF APRO, LIT, and also APPS. So for this part, I am also planning to go to Bali, Indonesia to attend EM3 and for my self-evaluation, I know that our team has worked tirelessly to make our goal of moving forward through synergy and collaboration with no one left behind a reality. And I believe we have shown this through our projects. It is a testament to the hard work, dedication, and commitment of each team member. And I am very, very grateful for their contributions. This won't be possible. Our success right now in IPSF APRO won't be possible with our team members, the regional working group, and also all of our members in the IPSF APRO team, and also to the member organizations who have never failed to support regional working group. As the chairperson, I've mainly focused on supporting and guiding the regional working group with their own individual portfolio projects, and also making sure that the collaboration, that the main framework of partnerships and also standard operating procedures were followed. And I am grateful for the opportunity to work with you guys as the chairperson of IPSF APRO. And I am proud to comment on what we have achieved as a team. And I'm looking forward to the next generation of IPSF APRO regional working group. And I just want to say that I will treasure all the memories I have in IPSF APRO now, and that I am hoping to see each one of you in the future, may it be in IPSF or in our future careers. Viva IPSF, viva la paz.
Thank you, Bill, for your annual report. I now open the floor for discussion. So if anyone would like to make any comments, you can. Scrutineers, if you can get ready. So our first speaker is John Moises de Casa from FJC PPH in the Philippines. You now have the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. Moises Carter from FJC PPH Philippines. And on behalf of the Federation of Junior Chapters of the Philippine Pharmacists Association, we would like to thank Mr. Balhon and congratulate you for finally presenting your annual report. Your achievements, the achievements of the entire federation are the testaments of your hard work and the hard work of your entire team during this mandate. And on behalf of the FGCPPH Philippines, we would like to thank you for helping our association to elevate even more in IPSF. And with that, I would like to ask a question. During the start of your mandate, there have been a problem with other IPSF regional offices, wherein a specific regional office copied or used the branding of IPSF APRO for their publicity materials. With that, as the chairperson of the regional office, how did you handle this problem with other regional office? Thank you. I'm passing the floor back to the chairperson.
Thank you, Moses, for your question. I now pass the floor back to Bill.
Thank you, Chair, for the floor. And thank you, Moses, for your question. There was a problem with another regional office who copied one of our branding for IPSF APRO during the last mandate. So we handled this by actually communicating both with their RMPO and also their chairperson. That even though they may seek inspiration from our branding, we do not want it to be completely similar. And they were very amenable to this, and they apologized for the inconvenience and also if ever IPSF APRO was offended in any way for them copying the branding. So overall, it was a good interaction with the regional office, and we were able to settle it quite fast. Thank you, Moises.
Thank you, Bill, for your answer. If we can remove Moses from the speaker list. Great, and so I'll now pass the floor at the chair to Heidi for this particular question.
Thank you, Ms. Amy. This is Heidi, IPSF APRO RO for this mandate. I would like to give the floor to Ms. Amy Kramer, IPSF APRO Secretary.
Thank you, Chair, for the floor. My name is Amy Elizabeth Kramer. I'm the Secretary of IPSF APRO. I'd just like to say on behalf of the Regional Working Group, thank you so much, Bill, for everything that you've done for us, for leading us throughout this mandate. It's been incredible working with you. I'm sure we can all agree that your dedication to IPSF APRO is really an inspiration for all of us. And it'll really be sad to not be able to work with you as RWG after our mandate ends. And I think we just all want to wish you the best. And just say thank you so much for everything you've done. And I'll get the
Thank you, Amy. I would like to give the chair back to Ms. Amy Kramer.
Thank you, Heidi. And we can update the speakers list. Yep, so we now have Mohammed from Femkimfa Ujian Indonesia for technical.
Oh,
So the speaker votes is the list, it's our votes, but it shows up as Lydia.
One moment, please, sorry.
yeah, one more.
Sorry, thank you for that. If you just don't mind, just give me a minute to quickly fix that. Very sorry for that error, if you don't mind. While I fix this error, I might just move on to the next speaker, if that's okay, just so we can quickly move on, and I'll come back to you, or signal to you once it's been fixed. So if we could just move on to the next speaker. So next speaker is Joshua from FJPPH Philippines. So next.
Thank you, Mr. So my question is actually about I'm Joshua from FCCP PHA Philippines. So my question is actually about the AMR hackathon. It was actually one of your most promoted projects for this mandate, and I just want to ask, what's the participation from students or from IPSF APRO members as compared to the members or students from the other associations? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I now pass the floor back.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the floor, and thank you, Joshua, for your question. So for our AMR hackathon, we had our participation, if I can break it down estimately, I believe 60% were made out by pharmacy students and also veterinary students. So most of them were from IBS and IPSF. And then the remaining 40% were coming from dental students and also medical students. I believe this difference within the registrations for IPSF APRO MR Hackathon was mainly due to the difference of their posting in social media. But we were able to discuss the feedback with each regional chair. And they mentioned that it had good reception from each of their associations when the information was disseminated to their members. So hopefully that answers your question, and thank you again for your question.
Thank you, Bill, for your answer. And now I'd like to pass the floor to Vantri, from IPSF APRO RPO.
Thank you for the floor, Ms. Amy. Yeah, my name is Vantri Zagmon. I'm actually the regional project officer for this mandate. I work to science and consumer better. I'm also part of working coordinately with Bill in partnering up with the other organizations. And I would like to say that besides all the participation, the outcome was grateful as well, because the winner team contains the participation from every organization, leading by IVSA, and also two members of the winning team was also from IPSF. And also in that team, we have a very diverse group. So I would say that the winner are from Nepal, from Malaysia, and also some are from actually our organization in Indonesia. So in conclusion, all the winners are 3 winners spread around in Asia Pacific region. And I would say that this is actually a sign of good collaboration with no one left behind, because it's time for us to move forward together. And I would like to say, I would say personally thank you to Bill for initiating this collaboration, and that we can move forward with the collaboration among health students, because it's time for us to work together, and it's no later, it's now. Thank you for the floor, Ms. Amy.
Thank you, Vantri, for your comments. I now pass the floor to Christian and Francisco from FJCP PHA Philippines. Christian?
Thank you, Ms. Chair. I am Cristiani Francisco from the FJC PHA Philippines. With no one left behind in the context of supporting and assisting member organizations such as Fiji, Laos, Sri Lanka, Brunei, Jerusalem, Maldives, etc., I wish to seek a streamline, perhaps the latest update regarding their membership. Additionally, is there a possibility of finally introducing these countries in the upcoming General Assembly in Bali, Indonesia? Thank you, and I'm passing the floor back to the chairperson.
Thank you, Christian, for your question. I'll now pass the floor to Bill.
Thank you, Amy, for the floor, and thank you for the question. Heidi, since this is her portfolio finding new member organizations within IPSF APRO. And in terms of supporting them, we were able to establish good contact with Fiji, Sri Lanka, and Brunei Darussalam. Just to give some context, for Fiji, we were able to give them email correspondence, but unfortunately, the emails died down even with our follow-ups. For Sri Lanka, we were able to communicate with them through the PAPA Congress. Actually, we were able to meet their professional pharmacist organization there, and we were able to ask them to make a student federation within the country. So right now they are one of the MOs in line for new membership within IPSF in the General Assembly. And for Brunei Darussalam, they are currently in the process of actually finishing their application as well. And we are expecting them to be in GA as a new applying as a new member organization as well in IPSF. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question for this countries within Asia Pacific. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill, for your answer. And now pass the floor to Heidi.
Thank you, Chair. This is Heidi, IPSF APRO RO this mandate. First of all, thank you, Bill, for the answer, and also FGCPPHA for the question. I think this is also aligned with one of our mission this year for moving forward with no one left behind as we try to expand the coverage and opportunities that APRO can provide to other countries in our region. As we know that there are countries that we're all sitting here, but they don't have this amazing opportunity to be a part of this growing family. Hence why we keep on trying to expand our membership. And although we want to have as many countries and associations as we can, but we're also looking at their quality and potential and also sustainability of how they can flourish while being here. And I really do hope, as Bill mentioned before, Sri Lanka is already in the application. They already applied, right? And then, and Brunei is coming up soon. So if any of you will be in the upcoming General Assembly this year, hopefully you can see 2 new countries coming from the Asia Pacific Regional Office. And yeah, I would also like to thank Bill for his help of the entire process. Thank you. I'm giving the chair back to Amy.
Thank you, Heidi, for your comments. We now move to, I give the floor to Fanny from Ismatasi, Indonesia for her comment.
First of all, thank you, Chair. I'm Fanny from Isma Farsi. First of all, Bill, thank you so much for your guidance. And I'm not talking in terms of association-wise, but also your guidance to us, IPSF subcoms and other RWG. And for that matter, I would like to ask a question. I noticed that you have a lot of innovations during your mandate itself in terms of projects and also members association. Now, my question would be, how would you ensure the sustainability of your projects so that your legacy wouldn't stop here, but it would continue to the next mandate and IPSF would be held as accountable for it? Thank you.
Thank you, Fanny, for your question. I now pass the floor back to Bill.
Thank you, Chair, for the floor, and thank you, Fanny, for your question. So actually, when thinking about projects and initiatives, I actually don't encourage future generations of IPSF APRO to stick with what we have now. But I actually want them to be flexible and look at the current scenario of Asia Pacific when they're having their own mandates. Because right now we're seeing a change in health equity, but maybe in the coming years, it will be way different. So I'm just hoping that when it comes to sustainability of projects, we're not thinking about having the same projects all over each year, but more on having that sustainable mindset of making sure that the needs of the regional office are met with each of the projects. So hopefully that is something that can be done. But in terms as well of making sure that we have an efficient team, I'm also always active in communicating with the regional working group, subcommittees, anyone who is interested in leadership positions within IPSF to make sure that these considerations are met and that they do understand that this is something that we must strive for within IPSF and within the Asia Pacific Regional Office. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill, for your answer. If we can update the speakers list, please. Thank you. I now pass the floor to Yoga from BMFF Indonesia. If you could put your hand up, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the floor. I'm Yoga from BMFF UNAIR. I just want to appreciate first, Bill, thank you for your mandate this year. It is very enjoyable, especially in the F2F meeting in Surabaya. Pleasure to meet you for the first time. Quick question. what was your consideration for choosing Discord as a new platform for communication between IPSF APRO team, and how effective it was? Thank you.
Thank you, Yoga, for your question. I now pass the floor back to them.
Thank you, Amy, for the floor, and thank you, Yoga, for your question. So for Discord being chosen as a new communication platform, it was actually because of familiarity. So we were investigating the new platform early on during the mandate, and we actually had two main options, which was Discord and Slack, since they have similar characteristics of having calls within the platform, of having chats that won't be buried if you use WhatsApp chat thread to send up files. They also have the option of socializing sessions. So our subcommittee members can go there, watch movies together, play games together. So I think that was one of the main considerations for Discord. We were also mainly looking at Slack to make it a little bit more formal, but we saw that there was a subscription fee, and because we did not have this in our budget for this year, we were not able to use Slack for our additional communication platform. Overall, it was a nice experience with Discord, and I believe we were able to leverage it successfully for this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill, for your answer. I will just wait a few more seconds to see if there's any other comments that people would like to raise. I see none, so we can now move on to voting for this motion, which is the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the annual report of the chairperson of the IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office for 2022 to 2023. So if there's anyone who would like to vote against, please raise your cards now. If anyone wants to vote against, I see none. If anyone wants to vote abstain, please raise your cards now. I see none. If anyone would like to vote for this motion, please raise your cards now. Thank you for your voting. I see 11 cards, so if we could update that on the monetary system, please. Yep, so this motion passed unanimously. I will now pass the chair back to Bill.
Thank you, Amy. So we will now be moving on to the next motion, motion number 8. Sorry, we have a motion from, sorry, you can do it. So we have a procedural motion from FJCPHA Philippines. Scrutineers, if you can give the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moises Carta from FJCPHA Philippines. I would like to propose a motion to limit the discussion of the RWG report to 7 minutes. This motion shall run until the end of the report of the IPPS chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Moises. Do we have a seconder for the procedural motion? So to repeat, we have a procedural motion proposed by FJCPHA Philippines to keep the discussion of RWG annual reports to 7 minutes, which will run until the report of the chairperson of the Asia Pacific Pharmaceutical Symposium. So do we have a seconder? Seconded by Isma Farsi, Indonesia. We will now be waiting for this to show up on our parliamentary system, and then we will be having a vote. Yeah. How do you do it? How do I do it? Yeah, I have to have other people. You don't like direct, you will comment on Okay, please give us a few more seconds while we wait for this to show up in the parliamentary system. Lowercase the h. Lowercase the h. Okay, so we have the procedural motion in our parliamentary system. I'll be reading it out. The 25th Regional Assembly mandates to limit the discussion of RWG annual reports to 7 minutes until after the annual report of the chairperson of the 22nd APPS. I will now be opening the floor for discussion. If anyone has any comments, please put in the speaking list. Sorry, there was a clarification. Is the limit to the discussion or to the presentation of the regional working group? Sorry, if a scrutineer can pass the floor to FJCP page 8.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moises Carter from FGCPPGA Philippines. To answer your questions, just the discussion, not the reporting. So after you report, we will be discussing. So we'll be limiting it to 7 minutes, like the question and answer or the acknowledgement. This is to ensure that we will be finishing all the agenda before we end the APPS and the RA this Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, Moises from FJCPPGA Philippines. So now we have a new comment from Evelyn from BMFF Unaira Indonesia.
Thank you for the floor, Chair. So this is Evelyn from BMFF Unaira Indonesia. Propose for discussion to be 10 minutes to give sufficient time for the delegates to say their opinions and thoughts regarding the annual reports. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Evelyn. So a point of information for everyone. So since Evelyn mentioned a change to proposer of the motion, if they accept the change. If they accept the change, we will be changing the wording of the motion to what was mentioned. If not, we will be voting on the motion. And if it is not carried, the motion will now be changed as the proposer to be BMFF Unaira Indonesia. If it is carried, it will be changed to BMFF Unaira Indonesia as the proposer of the procedural motion. So I will now be giving the floor to FJCPPHA Philippines if they accept the change in wording.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moises Carter from FGCPPHA Philippines. We would like to accept the proposal by BMFF Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, FJCPPHA Philippines. Accept the new wording of the procedural motion.
Thank you, Chair, for the floor. It's Fanny from Isma Farsi. We would like to accept the proposal from BMFF Unaira. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now be changing the wording of the motion in our parliamentary system. Okay, so I will be reading out the new procedural motion. This, the 25th IPSF APRO Regional Assembly mandates to limit the discussion of the RWG annual reports to 10 minutes until after the annual report of the chairperson of the 22nd APPS. If we can update the speaking list, please. Okay, thank you. So we have a direct comment from Ms. Evelyn. Okay, sorry. Okay, so that was a technical. So we have a new comment from Moises from FJCPPHA Philippines. Okay, that was a technical as well. So if there are any more comments, the floor is open for discussion. I'll be giving a few more seconds for people to put in their interest to comment. I see no more new comments. I will now be closing the floor for discussion, and we will be moving to voting. So we are now voting on the procedural motion that states this: the 25th Regional Assembly mandates to limit the discussion of RWG annual reports to 10 minutes until after the annual report of the chairperson of the 22nd APPS. All those who are against this motion, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those who abstain, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those who are for this motion, please raise your voting cards. There are 11 votes for this motion. So motion carried unanimously. Okay, so we will now be moving back to our agenda. Motion number 8 for the parliamentary system. Motion number 8. Okay, so we are now moving on to motion number 8, which states this: the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the annual report of the Secretary of the IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office for 2022 to 2023. So I'll now be passing the floor to Ms. Amy Kramer, our Regional Secretary.
Thank you, Bill, for the floor. I'll now be presenting my annual report for the Secretary as the Secretary of the IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office for 2022 to 2023. So after being elected to the position during the 24th IPSF APRO Regional Assembly, which was held online last year, I had an online handover session with the outgoing IPSF APRO Secretary, Sulin Lee, over Zoom, and she has provided me with a very generous handover documents and actively guided me throughout my mandate, and it also addressed any questions or concerns I had. During my report is split up into 6 main parts, or what I believe is my main roles that I had during the mandate. So one of my biggest roles that I am continuing on from previous secretaries is ensuring the smooth running of the regional office. This is one of the key responsibilities as Secretary of IPSF APRO. And so throughout the mandate, I've created and released a number of documents and publications, as well as assisted in various tasks of the regional working group. So these include, but not limited to, organising the annual plans of the regional working group and annual calendar for APRO, updated the KPIs for the IPSF APRO Secretary portfolio to the annex of the IPSF Strategic Plan 2020-2023, released certificates to the IPSF APRO subcommittee members of 2021-22, organised the APRO 2022-23 subcommittee list, updated all IPSF APRO Google groups, including the IPSF APRO subcommittee and CP groups, created official templates for the RWG annual plan and monthly updates, sent out the IPSF APRO regional working group monthly updates each month, created and updated various guidelines, including setting up official RWG email signatures, policy writing start kits, mini secretary guidelines, and RA preparation guidelines, as well as how to draft RA minutes. Other things I've been involved in include the IPSF APRO policy package, IPSF APRO RWG monthly updates, APRO mid-mandate feedback form, assistance and RPO projects, including PCE, CESC literature review competition. I organized the Google Drive of the regional secretary to help for easier navigation. And I also currently in the progress of creating or drafting very basic RWG guidelines and subcommittee core guidelines. My next role or goal for my mandate was to expand the role of the Secretary Subcommittee. For this mandate, I was able to recruit 2 subcommittee members, Rafi Prayoga Amuga from BMFFUI Indonesia and Tanya Wan from IPSA Malaysia. Similar to the previous mandate, the subcommittee members served 2 main roles, so admin secretary and as a policy writer, So as many secretaries, they rotated around the different RWG members and their portfolios, assisting with various secretariat tasks, such as writing meeting minutes, proofreading documents, and overseeing various submissions and task deadlines. They each have produced a policy writing piece each this mandate and are currently working on their second batch of policy writings, which are in collaboration with the APRO Regional Office and the Euro Regional Office. I'm truly grateful for my subcommittee members. They have been incredibly hardworking and diligent in their tasks and very passionate about their roles. So I'm very appreciative of the work that they've done for the IPSF APRO. However, in addition to them in their secretary roles and the policy writing, I've tried to also actively engage them in other aspects of IPSF APRO, including several projects. So one is writing meeting minutes for the CP one-on-one meetings, assisting the chairperson and myself with the APRO policy package. They acted as moderators for the advocacy competition, training sessions, and various other APRO projects, including CP trainings and social nights. They've also assisted me with the RA preparation, as well as acting as RA assistants for the 25th Regional Assembly. My third goal for the mandate was to advance advocacy. So one of the ways to do that was through policy writing. So my secretary subcommittee are in charge of drafting the policy writings that we have released on behalf of IPSF APRO. So the two topics that we've released so far are neglected tropical diseases and transforming roles of pharmacists and their potentials in public health. This mandate, we also took the initiative to translate these policy writings into the APRO languages, which were then shared with the CPs in order to try and help reach a wider audience in IPSF APRO. Currently, there are two collaborative pieces that I mentioned with APRO and Euro that are being finalized, and they will be published soon after they reach APPS, or once they're completed, I mean. And to assist with these pieces, I updated the policy writing starter kit to also include a guideline on how to write joint policy statements. A second initiative that continued on from last mandate was the advocacy competition. This year, we decided to have a theme, which was breaking barriers, reducing health inequities through policy writing, in which participants could write a policy addressing any health disparities of their choice and the roles that pharmacists can take to make a difference. So this competition is an opportunity to encourage IPSF APRO members to learn more about policy writing and become more, increase awareness about advocacy and how they can be involved. We also had the WIPRO policy statements. So the top three winners from the Advocacy Competition 2022 were invited to draft 3 policy statements on behalf of IPSF APRO, which focused on the topics of cervical cancer, communication for health, and reaching the unreached. These statements were then reviewed by myself, the chairperson, and the policy committee before being read out at the WHO WIPRO RCM in October last year. Lastly, I also assisted with the APRO policy session along with my secretary subcommittee. And so we created the APRO policy package that was used to help the CPs draft their national position papers on the topic of strengthening the role of pharmacists in public health. A fourth a main key responsibility of mine, this mandate, is to advise on the IPSF official documents and manage the IPSF APRO team. So this mandate, I aim to try and become more familiar with the IPSF official documents, especially through my involvement with the CWC, as well as in preparation for the 25th Regional Assembly. In doing so, I've helped ensure that the Regional Office complies with the official documents. Another major role that I've taken on is managing the IPSF APRO team. So this included organizing the calls, as well as the team training and socializing sessions at the start of the mandate. This mandate, we also tried to introduce a new communication form, which was Discord, for the APRO team to help ensure a smooth workflow. I think there's a lot more opportunity for this to be further utilized in coming mandates. That was a great way to start helping ensure that we have a smooth workflow between APRO team and WG as well. Other duties included supervising the quarterly reports of the APRO subcommittee, as well as organising the mid-mandate feedback form. My fifth main role, which is quite relevant currently, was preparation and organisation for the 25th Regional Assembly. I began preparations in around April this year, consulting with my predecessor, Ms. Suan Lee, the APRO chairperson, IPSF Secretary General, and IPSF Parliamentary Coordinator. I'm extremely thankful to everyone who has assisted me during this busy period, as well as to all the CPs and official delegates here who are very who have also been accommodating to me and really helped me with the preparations as well. So I completed numerous tasks in preparation for the Regional Assembly, including sending out the notification and provisional agenda of the 25th R for the RWG and the call to host the 24th APS in 2025. I've also sent out call for nominations for the 9th GPPED program, created the official Google Drive to be used during the 25th RA. I've sent out template submission forms for all necessary preparatory documents for official delegates, as well as RWG members to complete, including any reports, credential forms, code of conduct forms, and motion forms. I've been continuously following up with member organizations and RWG and reviewing all the submitted preparatory documents. And I've also helped edit and proofread the minutes from the previous RA alongside designated members of the CWC side. In addition, I have started to draft the RA preparation guidelines, as well as a guideline on how to format RA minutes. This is to just ensure that future secretaries will have much more smoother transition or preparation phase as they come up to the Regional Assembly, as this is one of the biggest tasks of the secretary role. Lastly, one of my other main key responsibilities is CP engagement and participation. So as one of the main points of contact persons in the IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office, I've completed numerous tasks in order to improve engagement and encourage the participation. So some of these include organising the CP survey at the beginning of the mandate, the annual awards criteria, which I collaborated with the Regional Relations Officer and Chairperson, monthly awards, again collaborating with the Regional Relations Officer and Chairperson, presented the following topics at CP training. So I on PSF official documents, email etiquette, and pre-RA training, attended various CP meetings, including RWG CP meetings, training sessions, social night, and one-on-one meetings with the MOs. I've also received various invitations and helped organise RWG videos or attendance to these events from the member organisations. And I've also helped assist with releasing and screening the recipients of the IPSF APRO grants. For my past travels, I've only been able to travel to the APPS in Yogyakarta, Indonesia, due to my hectic uni schedule. Up to my self-evaluation. So during the mandate, I have strived to fulfill my responsibilities as the Secretary of the IPSF APRO, while also balancing the demands of being a final year pharmacy student. It has been both an intense and rewarding experience, and I have learned many lessons about my own leadership style, as well as the importance of having good time management. However, I would not be here today without the support of the Regional Working Group and the IPSF APRO team. Their passion for the Federation and dedication to their work is truly inspiring and has helped motivate me, especially during the tough times of my role. I'm truly grateful for all the invaluable experiences that I've learned and gained during my role. I'm honoured to have had this opportunity to serve IPSF APRO and the Federation. The memories and friendships I've made during this year will certainly last me a lifetime and will forever remain one of the highlights of my student life. Future considerations. So in order to ensure we are keeping the smooth running of IPSF APRO, it is really important that we do try to maintain that sustainability. So before the end of my mandate, I will work on completing the first draft of the RWG guidelines that can be utilised by the next mandate as they begin their work and help create a proper flow between the team. I would also highly encourage the next secretary to continue building and improving those guidelines for future secretaries and RWG members. Additionally, I'll organise the archives of the IPSF APRO RWG Google Drives, as well as deliver a comprehensive secretary handover session with the incoming secretary before the end of this mandate. And then I will also, lastly, I'll also be attending the FIP World Congress in Brisbane in September this year as a representative of IPSF. So to conclude, I'm truly honoured to have been given this opportunity to serve APRO and the Federation. It has been an extreme privilege to work alongside these amazing individuals in the RWG as well as the APRO team to lead the regional office in empowering future pharmacists. I'd like to thank everyone for their hard work, passion and support throughout the mandate, especially as I strive to oversee the smooth running of the office, make advancements and advocacy for the region, and further expand the role of the Secretary Subcommittee. I wish all the best for the future endeavours of the RWG and APRO team and all the CPs and official delegates here. And I hope to see IPSF APRO continue to grow and foster the next generation of future pharmacists and leaders. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, for your report. So we will now be moving on to the speaking list. Up first, we have Ms. Evelyn from BMFF UNAIR, Indonesia.
Thank you for the floor, Chair. My name is Evelyn from BMFF UNAIR, Indonesia. So first of all, I would like to appreciate the great work Ms. Amy has done in this mandate. Your rapid response and help in all of our inquiries were very helpful. For my question, how is the delegation of tasks between both subcoms done to ensure an even amount of work was tasked to each of them? Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn, for your question. So for everyone's information, we have now started the 10-minute timer for the discussion. I'll be passing the floor now to Ms. Amy Kramer.
So can I just get a clarification? Was the delegation of tasks for my secretary subcommittee? Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you for the question, Evelyn. So to ensure that we had an even delegation of tasks, I always make sure to ask what is the a good timeline of my subcommittee. So when are there busy periods? When are there free periods? And then we set a schedule of particularly with policy writing. When we want to complete certain drafts or tasks in the policy writing, because we don't want them to be overwhelmed by obviously their policy writing and also their mini secretary duties. I was also happy to take on any tasks, particularly for certain mini secretary roles, when they were they were very busy with their own personal lives. So I tried to be very understanding of my subcommittee members' personal life outside of IPSF APRO. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Amy. So up next on our speaking list, we have Yoga from BMFF UNAIR, Indonesia.
Thank you for the floor. I'm Yoga from BMFF UNAIR, Indonesia. Thank you, Ms. Amy, for your hard work this mandate. Just a quick question: what was the purpose for updated guidelines? What was your purpose of changing it? What is your reasoning behind it? And how far do you expect the change? And also, how does that affect the workflow in the team? Thank you.
Thank you, Yoga. So I'll now be giving the floor to Amy.
Thank you, Bill, for the floor, and thank you, Yoga, for the question. Sorry, can I ask another clarification? Do you mean just the general guidelines that I mentioned, or is there any specific guideline you wanted me to discuss about?
Yeah, the general guidelines.
Yeah, so thank you, Yoga, again for the question. So with the guidelines, I guess, again, one of my key roles as secretary is ensuring the smooth running of the regional office. And so having those standardized guidelines that future, RWG or subcommittee members can always reference back to is really key and essential, I believe, to helping maintain that smooth workflow and sustainability in future mandates. So these are always kept in a specific folder so that the secretary and certain APRO team members can refer to them at any time. And these are always going to be continuously updated as there may be always certain minor changes, or secretaries or RWG members will have different takes on how they want certain tasks done or work to be done. So I do believe it is definitely very sustainable and important for APRO to keep having these guidelines and updating them frequently. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. So I'll
Thank you, Bill. This is Heidi Arbis of APRO, our oldest mandate. I'd like to give the floor to Bill.
Thank you. So Amy, on behalf of the Regional Working Group, just want to give our sincere appreciation. We know it's not been a really favorable time zone to be in New Zealand, but you've always managed to be present in our meetings, and also just want to say that we really appreciate you going over and beyond your duties as IPSF APRO Secretary, helping out with each of our portfolio projects. I know you've been very active with our relations, with media and publications, with projects, with APPS. And we just really want to say that we appreciate it, and we hope for you to have the best in your future in the business. I'll be giving the floor back to Ms. Patricia Heidi.
Thank you, Bill. I'm giving the floor back to Bill.
Thank you, Heidi. For the next question, we have Ms. Manchari Sangmiyang, IPSF APRO RPO.
Thank you, Bill, for the floor. My last name is Sang Mulang, but that's okay. My name is Manchari. I'm the Regional Project Officer for this mandate. First of all, congratulations, Andy, for your presentation. Just for 1 second. I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude for you and your exceptional dedication and hard work. Without your invaluable contributions, we wouldn't have been able to accomplish what we did. And your commitment and efficiency have been truly remarkable. I am deeply grateful for your unwavering work at all time and always. I also want to acknowledge the extra effort you put in work, waking up early, going to sleep late, and seeing the sun first, allow her to work before us and after us. And it's truly a blessing to have someone like you on the team and who's very enthusiastic, beautiful, and also positive energy inspires all. Thank you once again for your exceptional work, and your contribution are invaluable. I'm looking forward to the rest of the mandate, and hopefully we can work again in the near future. Thank you for the floor, Bill.
Thank you, Manchari. Up next, we have Mr. Moises from FJC PPHA Philippines.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moises Carter from FJC PPHA Philippines. On behalf of FGC PPHA Philippines, we would like to thank Ms. Amy for your tremendous support to our federation, as well as for your hard work throughout the mandate. And the question is, as the Secretary of the Regional Office, you are expected to work together with the Chairperson of the Regional Office in ensuring the administrative affairs of the Federation. And with that, we would like to know regarding the things you did in order to ensure the smooth budgeting of this mandate's budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Moises. I'll be giving the floor to Amy.
Thank you, Bill, for the chair, and thank you, Moses, for your question. So in regards to the budget, it was actually also, it was not just the chairperson and myself who decide on this, it's also a decision made by all of the regional working groups. So Bill would always, Bill chairperson would always, where relevant, would bring the budget proposal or financial report to our meetings, and we would discuss and give our thoughts and opinions on how this could be better utilized. I think that's the word. In order to, in order to make the most use of it for both Federation and obviously all our member organizations. So I'll pass the floor back to Bill because I think there's a direct comment to that.
Thank you, Amy. So for the next comment, I'll be passing the floor first to Heidi, IPSF APRO.
Thank you, Bill. This is Heidi Arbis of APRO RO. I'm passing the floor to Bill.
Thank you, Heidi. So thank you, Moises, for your question. Just to give additional information for the budget, this year we did try to have as many people involved when it comes to finances as much as possible. So for the use of this year's budget, it was consulted with every member of the regional working group. And for the budget proposal and also the financial report, if some of the CPs are, if the CPs are here, you guys may remember I consulted the RWCP meeting as well, just to make sure that we have less conflicts within the financial report, and that we can consider everyone's opinions on which priorities we should have for our budget. Yep, I'll be giving the floor back to Heidi IPSF APRO.
Thank you, Bill. This is Heidi, IPSF APRO, our left.
Thank you, Heidi. So if we can update the speaking list, please. Yep, so there are no new comments as of now. I'll be waiting a few more seconds for people to put in their new comments. Okay, there are no new comments, so I will now be closing the floor for discussion. So before we proceed to voting, I'll just like to give a point of information. As ISMA Farsi Indonesia, all of their delegates went out of the. They now lose their voting rights until the next roll call. So we have 9 voting members present during this session. So our simple majority is 5. Our simple majority will be 5 to pass motions for the Regional Assembly. I'd like to also take this opportunity for full members. Please make sure you have at least 1 person in your table so that you do not lose your voting rights. We will now be proceeding to voting. Sorry, if anyone can from the motions committee, please change the number of voters for the parliamentary system to 9. Okay, the parliamentary system has been updated, so we will now be proceeding to voting. We are voting on motion number 8. This, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the annual report of the Secretary of the IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office for 2022 to 23. All those voting against, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those voting abstain, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those voting for, please raise your voting cards. I see 9. Please update the parliamentary system. The parliamentary system has been updated. Motion carried unanimously. Okay, we are now moving on to the next motion, motion number 9, which states that this, the 25th, we have a clarification from FJCPHA Philippines. Scrutineers, please give the mic to the officer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moses Carter from FJCPHA Philippines. I would like to ask for clarification if you have a time limit for the reporting. Thank you.
Thank you, Moises. So for now, we do not have a time limit for the reporting. We have the time limit for the discussion as proposed by FJCPHA and seconded by ISMA Farsi. There is no time limit for the actual presentation. We have a procedural motion by FJCPHA Philippines.
Again, Mr. Chair, Moses Carter from FJCPHA Philippines. I would like to propose a motion to limit the reporting to 5 minutes, and this may be extended up to 2 minutes if we deem necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Moses. So just a clarification for your procedural motion. You have it as 5 minutes, which can be extended up to 7 minutes. So an additional 2 minutes depending on the presentation. Okay, thank you. So do we have a seconder for the proposed motion? Seconded by NUSPS Singapore. We will just be waiting for the motion in the parliamentary system. Okay, so while we're waiting for the parliamentary system to be updated, I just want to inform everyone we have coffee at the back. You guys can get coffee and snacks at the back. Okay, so this is our procedural motion that we are discussing right now. This, the 25th Regional Assembly mandates to limit the presentation of RWG annual reports to 5 minutes, which can be extended by an additional 2 minutes if necessary. I open the floor now for discussion. We're having a few more seconds for anyone to give in their comments for the current procedural motion. We have a new comment from Evelyn, BMFF UNAIR Indonesia.
Thank you for the floor, Chair. So I would like to propose for the extension to be 5 minutes instead of 2 minutes to give sufficient time for the annual reports to be done and to give the information we need as delegates to actually give thoughts and opinions to your annual reports. Thank you.
Thank you, BMFF UNAIR Indonesia. So as with earlier, we will be getting the consensus from FJCPHA and also NUSPS if they accept the change to the procedural motion. So as scrutineers, if you can give the mic to FJCPHA Philippines.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moises Carta from FGCPPG Philippines. We propose the 2 minutes of additional extension. This is to ensure that we will be finishing the RA by the end of by the proposed ending date of the Regional Assembly. And since we have already extended the question and answer portion to 10 minutes, I think 2 minutes is already enough to extend for this. And I think this was a practice during the previous mandate as well to only extend up to 2 minutes for the reporting. So with that, FGCPPHA would like to decline the edit of the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Moises. So we are not changing the current motion. We will stick with the current wording. So we are still open for the floor. If any of you would like to have any new comments for the motion. Okay, apologies. Technical on the standing orders. So we will actually need a seconder from the proposed amendment to the procedural motion, so that if ever it can be considered and then it can be voted upon. Does anyone want to second the proposed amendment to the procedural motion to make the extension to an additional 5 minutes if necessary? Do we have any seconders? I see none, so we will be sticking with the current reading of the procedural motion. Again, a few more seconds for new comments for this current procedural motion. If none, we will now be proceeding to voting. So now we are voting on the procedural motion that states this, the 25th IPSF APRO Regional Assembly mandates to limit the presentation of RWG annual reports to 5 minutes, which can be extended by an additional 2 minutes if necessary. All those voting against, please raise your voting cards. I see none. As we have no abstentions for procedural motion, this motion is carried unanimously. So we will now be going back to the current motion being discussed. Okay, so we are having motion number 9 that states this, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the annual report of the Regional Media and Publications Officer of the IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office for 2022 to 23. I give the floor to Ms. Dawn Moya.
Thank you for the floor. Dawn Moya, our Regional Media and Publications Officer.
Once she starts.
It is with great pleasure and that I meet you all. I present to you my annual report as the Regional Media and Publications Officer for the 2022-23 mandate. So last September 4, 2022, with the 24th Asia Pacific Regional Assembly, I was elected as the IPSF APRO Regional Media and Publications Officer following the second call for nominations for said position. My handover with my predecessor, Mr. Carta, was conducted in two separate sessions, face-to-face last September 10 and online last September 21. So during the handover, we conducted in-depth discussions regarding a variety of important responsibilities, projects, and initiatives taken under the RMPO portfolio. So while serving as RMPO, I have had the privilege of contributing significantly to enhance IPSF APRO's media and publications portfolio together with the RMPO subcommittees and coordinators. So I will be focusing on 10 points for my annual report. First of that would be the IPSF APRO branding. So the changes in branding and visual identity introduced during the previous mandate were maintained and further improved. Criticism points on the distinguishability of publications were addressed by introducing variation through new visual elements and the utilization of a wider color palette and font selection. We also created various resources for the use of the regional working group as well as IPSF APRO teams, such as the IPSF APRO slide template, the IPSF APRO finger rules publication, the new version of the RWG email signature, icons for the WhatsApp group chats, Instagram story highlights for all major projects and events. We also changed the social media profile and header of all IPSF APRO social media accounts, edited and compiled profile photos for the RWG's use in official events, online meeting backgrounds for use in online events, and compiled and archived the updated logos and branding guidelines of all IPSF APRO member organizations. So for my next point would be the improvement of internal workflow. So these is divided into two different categories. So in terms of the RWG, so we revised the internal proposal for publications for ease of use of the RWG and the subcommittees. We also created the IPSF APRO RMPO proposal for certificates. So we utilized a different platform for the submission of RMPO proposals, and this allowed us to properly monitor the dates of submission, status of completion, and allowed for easy backtracking. We also created an RMPO calendar for the scheduling and of internal and external deadlines, publication dates, live streams, and meetings. So this is accessible to the RWG and RMPO coordinators. We also lastly established concrete lead times for the generation of publications. And for the subcommittees, so we appointed the design coordinator and the social networking site or SNS coordinator in coordination with the chairperson. We also conducted various internal workshops for both the design subcommittee, so on materials, and for the social media subcommittee on the principles of good captioning, as well as the utilization of relevant tools for the improvement of captions. So we also created the SOP for IPSF APRO captioning for social media subcommittee and the SOP for the generation of bulk certificates for the design subcommittee. And lastly, we updated the existing social media frequently asked question list. Next would be the design, publications, and certificates. So we designed, edited, captioned, and published the following materials for the entire RWG. So that includes the IPSF APRO call for subcommittee 2022-23, introduction to the 2022-23 mandate, APRO recap, and as well as the IPSF APRO RWG. You can see the specifics in the document as well. Yeah.
Okay, so next would be designing the publications for the chairperson. So this includes the Universal Health Coverage Day, 2023 New Year publication, as well as the IPSF APRO Showcase Home Tour for the year 2023. And for the regional secretary, we made the publications for policy writing, both of them, as well as the advocacy competition. And for the regional projects officer, World Mental Health Day, IPSF APRO Twitter Space, Pharmacy U Cloud, AMR Hackathon, professional development competitions, literature review competitions, World Cancer Awareness, Women in Leadership, and World No Tobacco Day. And for the regional relations officer, we made publications for the monthly updates, APRO branding competitions, the APRO Connect podcast, best contact person, professional development competition sponsors, APRO Spotlight, Osmosis Collaboration, and the APRO Alumni Spotlight. Next
So since the 5 minutes has passed, we now have we assess the floor if you would like to give Don an additional 2 minutes. So we use our finger rules. If you want to give Don 2 minutes, please thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. Okay, I see majority thumbs up. Don, you have an additional 2 minutes for your annual report.
Okay, so we also made the publications for IPSF Global as well as other relevant publications for my portfolio. And we also made a bunch of certificates for the different events under IPSF APRO. Next page, please. So next for the social media platform use and engagement, basically we handled all of IPSF APRO social media accounts. We relaunched the IPSF APRO Linktree accounts and then modified captions as we usually do under the subcommittee. And then generally, just to let you guys know, there was an increasing trend in our social media analytics. So like generally the followers, engagements, all of those increased. And next for the editorial work, so we proofread the contents of the certificates and proposals, proposed also the final content for the IPSF APRO newsletter, which we will be releasing soon. Next for the translation, so we translated PTC and both of the policy writings. And for the merchandise, we finalized the list of IPSF APRO merchandise. We also posted on social media, and we will also be releasing the merchandise very soon. As for leaders in training, we contributed to the 8th training session regarding personal branding. And I also share the duties and responsibility of the RMPO to the LT participants. And next for the collaborations with IPSF Global Media Publications portfolio. So I contributed and provided comments in the generation of the IPSF Global branding, as well as the regional symposium media plan for the documentation of APBS. And lastly, for the pending projects, we will be releasing again the merchandise very soon. We will be creating that IPSF APRO branding video, and lastly, publishing also the IPSF APRO newsletter. For my past travels, I went to Korea for KPLC-NC, Manila for the PPS, and Jakarta, Indonesia for APPS. During the past mandate, I did face quite a number of challenges. I tried my best to lead the largest portfolio under the IPSF APRO and strive to maintain harmony within and between all positions, balancing my responsibilities with my academic and personal life and other obligations. Thank you.
Thank you, Don, for your annual report. So we are now opening the floor for any comments for the RMPO portfolio. We have a new comment from Moises from FJCPPJ Philippines. Moises, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moises Carta, FJCPPJ Philippines. And on behalf of the Federation of Junior Chapters of the Philippine Pharmacists Association, we would like to thank you, Don, for the effort in uplifting the brand of the IPSF APRO. So we have heard a lot from our members in the FJCPPJ that this year they have seen a very huge improvement with regards to the colors and branding of our social media. And lastly, as your predecessor, I'm very proud of the achievements you have done throughout your mandate. Congratulations in advance, and thank you so much. I'm passing the floor back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Moises. So we have a new comment from Patricia Heidi Tariati-Zada, IPSF APRO.
Thank you, Chair. This is okay. Thank you, Chair. This is Heidi, IPSF APRO RO for this mandate. First of all, I would like to utilize this time on behalf of the entire IPSF APRO regional working group for this mandate to thank Ms. Dawn Isabel A. Muya, because without you, our projects are non-existent on our social media. Thank you so much for you and your hardworking team also design social media and editorial and translation. We sincerely hope that you will be successful in your future endeavors. Thank you so much for the long-lasting memories that we made together. Yeah, hoping for a great success for the RMPO portfolio, and I think all the RWG share the same heartfelt appreciation for you. Salamat. Thank you. I'll give the floor back to Bill.
Thank you, Heidi. So if there are any new comments, please do put it in the form. Okay, we have Rafi from BMFF UI Indonesia.
Thank you, Chair, for the floor. My name is Rafi from the UI. First of all, I'd like to thank Ms. Dawn for the amazing contributions to IPSF APRO for the past year. I'd like to ask, what are Ms. Dawn's vision as to how the website of IPSF APRO should be developed in the next mandate? Thank you. Giving the floor back to the Chair.
Thank you, Rafi. Giving the floor to
Thank you for the floor. Thank you for the question, Rafi. With regards to the IPSF APRO website, so there has been sort of a notice from IPSF Global Chairperson of Media and Publications that we will have to be unifying the web host for the IPSF websites as well. That includes the websites of the regional offices. So we will have to wait for their direction regarding the creation of the websites. But as I emphasized also during the start of my mandate, I believe also that the IPSF APRO website is very important, especially when we want to show our members and people around the world with regards to our initiatives and our events and our projects as IPSF APRO. So I think this is definitely something that can immediately be improved upon or immediately be called upon action as soon as things are resolved with regards to the web host. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. We are now going on to the next on the speaking list. We have Joshua from FJCPPJ.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Also, my question actually is, I'm Joshua from FGPPH. IPSF proposed the extension pub for the clinical skills event. In that pub specifically, one of the elements it was put flipped or it was put oddly. So my question is, what is the internal flow for quality assurance in your design subcommittee in releasing publicity materials?
Thank you, Joshua. So I'm passing the floor now to
Thank you for the floor, Dawn RMPO. Thank you, Joshua, for your question. So with regards to the IPSF APRO RMPO subcommittees when it comes to the workflow of quality assurance, first, the publications would be made using the proposal, the RMPO proposal document that is provided by the respective RWG member who's hosting the project. And then once this proposal is provided, it comes through me and it goes directly to the coordinator in charge. So that's both the design coordinator as well as the social networking site coordinator for the creation of captions. When the design coordinator will then delegate the task to the design subcommittee, and the person from the design subcommittee making the publication will give it back to the design coordinator and then back to me, and then possibly also the RWG member or the chairperson. So that's the general workflow when it comes to checking of publications. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. So up next on our speaking list is Yoga from BMFF Unair, Indonesia.
Thank you for the floor. I'm Yoga from BMFF Unair, Indonesia. First of all, I want to appreciate the work you've done. Thanks for the wonderful color palette you've chosen. Now, to the question is, how helpful was the internal workshops in elevating the subcom's skill? As they must have already some basics in the conducted workshops. Thank you.
Thank you, Yoga. Passing the floor to Don.
Thank you for the floor, Dawn RMPO. Thank you, Yoga, for your question. Actually, internal workshops help a lot, especially in the contextualization of the jobs that they have to do as part of the RMPO subcommittees. So I think especially it just gets them used to what types of platforms or what types of design we utilize as the RMPO subcom. So in addition, so usually, for example, the design subcommittee, so they're briefed on how to use Photoshop. So usually not everyone knows how to, so it's necessary to have to brief all of them, so they at least have like a basic skill level when it comes to making the publications. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. And on our speaking list is Evelyn from BMFF Indonesia.
Thank you for the floor, Chair. My name is Evelyn from BMFF Indonesia. I would like to appreciate the great work of the RMPO for this mandate. The publications have been wonderful. You have mentioned in your annual report that you had discussions with the global RMPO. How has your input impacted the publication of the global RMPO?
Thank you, Evelyn. Passing the floor to Don.
Oh, would it be possible to clarify with, is it regards to the branding guidelines of the IPSF Global? Okay, so the IPSF Global Chairperson for Media and Publications consults all of the regional media and publications of all regional offices for inputs on the branding of IPSF Global. So like IPSF Global has a separate branding book from IPSF APRO. However, we were able to contribute our ideas, any suggestions, and then we all voted on what we think would be the best for IPSF Global as well. Yeah, thank you.
The 10-minute time limit, we will now be moving on to voting. So we are voting on motion number 9 that states this, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the annual report of the Regional Media and Publications Officer of the IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office for 2022 to 23. All those voting against, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those voting abstain, please raise your voting cards. All those for, please raise your voting cards. I see 9. So we have 9 votes for, 0 against, and 0 abstain. Motion carried unanimously. So I am now entertaining a motion for a 10-minute recess. If there are any objections, if there are no objections, we will be having a 10-minute recess for snacks and coffee. Again, if there are no objections, we will be having a 10-minute recess. Since there are no objections, we will be having a 10-minute recess, but first we need to suspend the standing orders. So do we have a proposer and seconder? Proposed by FJCPPHA Philippines. Seconded by ISMA Farsi Indonesia. So we will now be voting on the procedural motion. All those against? I see none. So we will suspend it. Standing orders have now been suspended. And now we'll be moving on for roll call.
Yep, so when I call out your association name, please raise your hand. So MAPS India, yep. ISMA Farsi Indonesia, yep. APS Japan, yep. INZAPSO New Zealand, yep. FJCPPHA Philippines, KNAPS Republic of Korea, NUSPS Singapore, PSAT Thailand, IPSF India, sorry. BMFF Indonesia, BMFF Unair Indonesia, BIM Kimafa Unpad Indonesia, BIM Kimafa UGM Indonesia, BIMF USD Indonesia, HMF APITB Indonesia,
UFA Philippines, Indonesia, and PSI Taiwan.
Thank you. We now have a 10-minute recess. We will be resuming at 10:38. And for everyone's information, for full members who were not able to have voting rights earlier, if you should be present during the next roll call, so that you can receive your voting rights. Thank you. Yep, you can now take some snacks and coffee from the back.
Kuya.
Hey, give me the snack.
I feel like
Moy,
this is so
give me the
uncomfortable
snack.
for me to wear the t-shirt. Even though this is the RC t-shirt, but I'm gonna go. Moy, you're so handsome. Sarap mo. Right? Order in the court. Objection, Your Honor.
You do want to give comments to his sequester.
Sorry. I told her I'm gonna give it personally. Just to be more intimate, right?
I was like, look at Moy Tudon. And then he turned to my, okay.
NUSPS Singapore, thank you. PSAT Thailand, thank you. IPSF India, thank you. BMFF UI Indonesia, thank you. BMFF UNAIR Indonesia, thank you. BEM Kimfa UNPAD Indonesia, thank you. BEM Kimfa UGM Indonesia, thank you. BMF USD Indonesia, yes, thank you. Sorry. HMF AP ITV Indonesia, thank you. UFA Philippines, yes, thank you. PSA Taiwan, thank you. Okay, so now we'll do a procedural motion. Sorry, give me 1 second. So we have all full members here. So we have 8 full members present and voting. So therefore, strength of the House is 12 votes. 7 is required for simple majority, and 9 will be required for 2/3 majority.
Thank you, Amy. So now we'll be having a procedural motion to resume the standing orders. So do we have a proposer and seconder? Proposed by FJCPHA Philippines, seconded by Ismail Farsi. All those voting against? I see none. So we will now be resuming the standing orders. So we are now on motion number 10. We have a clarification. Oh, sorry. Please update the parliamentary system. So we have 11. The strength of the House is 12. Sorry. Thank you, Moises. Okay. So now we are on motion 10 that states this: the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the annual report of the Regional Relations Officer of the IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office for 2022 to 23. So I'll be giving the floor to Heidi to present her annual report.
Thank you, Chair. Hello, everyone. This is Heidi, IPSF APRO RO for this mandate. Before I begin presenting my annual report, I'd like to mention that even though my name is the one written over there at the very top, but for every single bullet points written below, each and every single one of you actually contributed to it. So please be proud of your achievements as CPs, SEOs, my honorable subcommittees who are here present, or even members of your MOs, as this is also part of your accomplishment. So I would like to jump straight. I was elected at the 24th Regional Assembly, and I did a handover session with my predecessor, Mr. Bill Wilson A. Rahan, who gave me insights on how to handle the internal and external relations of the RO portfolio. So if you can read my annual report, we have 8 points, which encompass all internal and external relations, and also my involvement in IPSF Global as part of the internal and external committee. So the first, for the first one is membership expansion. I'm proud to say that we are currently processing application for 2 new countries for the Asia Pacific Regional Office, which is Sri Lanka and Brunei Darussalam. We also contacted 6 new countries in total for the region. And I also assisted SAP application for several members. And also continuously update the IPSF APRO membership database to be used by my future successors so that they are able to secure and expand APRO's membership. Next is engagement from IPSF APRO CP. So for the internal management of APRO contact persons, as you may also know, I did several initiatives like handover sessions, one-on-one meetings, regional awards, including the new award that we implemented this mandate, which is the best CP of the month. And also we made the breakthrough of activity reports records because the CP forum is no longer functional. I also did APRO monthly discussion, 2 sessions of CP training, CP clusters, monthly reminders every month, APRO social night with the help of my internal relations subcommittee, and APRO mentorship program, of which we're currently in the process of announcing who received the best project award. Other than CP engagement, my other area of work is also recognition of IPSF APRO to APRO members. I see this as essential because we have been disconnected in a way for 3 years in the pandemic. So I see a need to remind the APRO members of what IPSF APRO is. So I did several initiatives like APRO Spotlight to spotlight each and every one of you. Are currently in progress of publishing the 3rd batch, APRO branding competition, branding video, which is also currently on progress.
And also, thanks to the collaboration with our Honorable Regional Media and Publication Officer, we managed to release 5 episodes of the APRO Connect podcast in total. Sorry, by this time, 7. By this time of the presentation, it's 7, and we have already recorded 10 episodes in total with the help of my external relations subcommittee. And this podcast is used to show the numerous partners that APRO has. And I want to reach this so that all of our members also are aware of the partnerships that we have. Bullet point number 4. I think this would be one of the best achievements of our old portfolio, which is that we managed to secure new regional partners and sponsors. I would like to mention them one by one. Number 1 is Imetco, who is also an honorable sponsor of APPS 2023. Osmosis, of which we did an exclusive giveaway. Mediska, who sponsored our compounding event. And also, I represented IPSF APRO in following external delegations as well and made the necessary connections. I think I also mentioned this in my past travels. For strengthening external relations, I also strengthen and maintain and make it more sustainable for our existing partners like MIMS, Asian Young Pharmacists Group, and interprofessional collaborations like IADS, IPMSA, and IPSA. Other than that, I also made it my mission this mandate to do proper workflow in collaboration with IPSF APRO RWGs, where I created the external request guidelines so that my RWGs can request for speakers, judges, managers, and external partners alike, assisted them in the external outreach for several projects, gave them the member organization's contact detail sheet, and collaborated with some of them for several projects like Secretary for APRO-CP training, RMPO for branding video, and Chairperson for external delegation. Bullet point number 6 would be I made my commitment this mandate as RO that I would provide assistance to the 22nd APPS 2023 and also NINT APRO GPED. So for APPS, with the help of the External Directorate as well and Sponsorship Division who are present here today in this room, we managed to secure some sponsors to help the financial needs of APPS 2023. I'm also in the process of promoting GPED and also finding sponsors for them as well. Lastly, before the 5 minutes mark end, I would like to honorably quickly mention the 12 names of my subcommittee. Ms. Ms. Eating Liao, Ms. Chelsea George, and also External Relations, Ms. Gabriel De Ocampo, Mr. Godwin Allen, Mr. Vincent Henry, Armita Fesha, Alina, and Jennifer Angeline have helped me in handling both relations of my portfolio.
Okay, thank you, Heidi, for your annual report. So the floor is now open for discussion. We have our, can we have this list? So, thank you. Okay, so we have Ms. Evelyn from BMFF UNAIR Indonesia. I'm sorry, just want to give a point of information for those who gave a direct comment. These are out of order. The statements are out of order. Direct comments should be a response to a new comment. So since a new comment was not given yet, we are not having this direct comments on the floor. Thank you. So if the motions committee can remove the direct comments, and then we proceed to Evelyn's new comment.
Thank you for the floor, Chair. My name is Evelyn, the VP of BMFF here in Indonesia. First of all, I would like to show my gratitude to our RRO, Ms. Patricia Heidi. She has always been very attentive and pushed our organization to become more active in IPSF APRO. She has always guided us and answered all of our questions very promptly as well. And I think her ability to identify the MOs and who needed extra attention in APRO, especially as a new member organization, and knowing what we need and providing it for us is something that is truly special, and I highly appreciate that. So for my question, there have been several new partnerships in this mandate. So what are your considerations in choosing those partnerships? The appropriate that a sustainable partnership.
Thank you, Evelyn. So I'll be passing the floor to Heidi now.
Thank you, Evelyn. As I mentioned before, for the new partnerships that we gain, before we reach out to them, we see their potential and also sustainability for future projects as well. I also mentioned the external request guideline. I will be passing this over to my successor in the future so that they can have the contact information of the
partners that we got in this mandate so that when they want to collaborate again for future projects, they can also reach out to them again. We're also in the process of making MOUs with some partners, but it hasn't been finalized yet. With the help of those written MOUs, we'll be having like a fixed trajectory with those partnerships in the future so that it will be sustainable and will give benefits accordingly to the members of APRO, even in the coming mandates, not only in this mandate. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. So we'll be moving on to the next speaker. So we have Yi-Ming Cheng from PSA Taiwan.
Thanks. Thank you, Ms. Heidi, for your impressive annual report presentation. This is Emily from PSA Taiwan. I really appreciate your hard work and effort as you actively get in touch with the APRO Association this mandate. We really feel accepted and get more familiar with APRO through numerous meetings, messages, and thank you for caring whenever I'm in need. And as I once texted you, the APRO podcast really helps out during my miserable times. Sorry, because I'm really cold right now. so my voice is a little bit, yeah. So I would like to ask a question regarding one of your future considerations about the post-pandemic recovery of in-person events. As most of the international physical events were last held several years ago, and I believe this situation also happens in most associations, while those previous CPs or other officers who once held great events might not be in IPSF due to graduation or any other reasons. I found it extremely difficult to trace back and contact them when I try to complete our alumni list. So my question is, what would you advise if we or the future committees want to seek guidance from predecessors? What resource can we ask APRO to assist us in bringing us back, bridging us back with them? Thank you.
Thank you, Emily, for your question. President for Mike.
Thank you, Emily, for the question. I think that's a great point to be raised, especially in this era of new generation and also after the pandemic. It's important for us to reach out to our alumni and predecessors to bridge the knowledge and skills gap that we may have. Actually, I want to inform that IPSF Global already has a position called IPSF Affiliation Coordinator, who is in charge of handling alumni relations. And because I'm a part of the internal committee, I'm also in charge of bridging that between APRO and the affiliation coordinator. So we actually have an initiative that I hope my successor will make it sustainable, which is the APRO Alumni Spotlight, of which you can see the notable alumni that APRO actually has. For in your member organizations, you can try to reach out to your past predecessors and alumni. If you don't have their contacts or you would like to get my assistance in contacting you with them, please don't hesitate to do so. And best of luck for your hard work.
Thank you, Heidi. So for this comment, I'll be giving the floor first to Amy, our APRO Secretary.
Thank you, Bill, for the chair. I'll now give Bill the floor for your comment.
On behalf of Ordo, we just want to thank Heidi for your work. You've done a lot of projects, various projects, and it was very good to work with you. We saw your work ethic. It was really amazing to see how you excelled in the field of relations. And we hope the best for the future endeavors you have in IPSF and outside of IPSF as well. So yeah, I'll be busy.
Okay, thank you for the floor. I'm Yoga from FF Unairs, Indonesia. First of all, I would like to appreciate the hard work you've put in this mandate. Quick question though, how did you assist the APPS committee in securing their partners, and what's your consideration or reasoning behind choosing them? Thank you.
Thank you, Yoga. Passing the floor to Heidi. 4 minutes.
Points of clarification, we mean the sponsors of APPS 2023? Yeah. Yeah, so actually, I think I'm quite blessed. Thank you for the question. Actually, I'm quite blessed that APPS is happening in my country at the time that I'm the RO. So I have connections with several national pharmaceutical companies and also health institutions that I can help. Together, we can work together to reach out to them, and I know what they're currently targeting for and also their market. So that I know when we approach them, it is highly likely that they would accept our offer to sponsor for APPS. Does that answer your question? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. We'll be moving on to the next comment. We have Kasturi from IPSF India.
Thank you, Chair, for the floor. I'm Kostubi from IPSF India. First of all, I would like to appreciate Heidi for always sticking around and always helping IPSF during the hard times we had last Monday. So my question is, we sometimes face problems regarding our CPs that they don't want to continue the whole mandate because they feel very pressurized. What are your suggestions that how can we motivate them so they stick around with that? Thank you.
Thank you, Kasturi. I'll be giving the floor to Heidi.
Thank you, Kasturi, for the question. As I know, most of the CPs here are also planning their headovers very soon as well. I think for successful sustainability and handover of officers, there are two important points. Number one is exposure. Number two is communication. So what I mean by exposure is that you have to expose your potential successor to all of the benefits that they will receive by becoming a CP. For example, you can go to APPS, you can have, you can travel, you can represent your association in external opportunities, you can receive added benefits, and you can receive official representation in IPSF APRO as the CP. So you have to expose them to those benefits so that they know. And number two is communication, which means that you have to maintain a close relationship with them. Make sure you know their personality, their personal lives as well, work ethic, so that they at least have a sense of moral responsibility, not only as a predecessor or as a senior to you, but also as a friend. Because when someone appreciates you as a friend, I think they will, once it's so emotional, they will, they will try to do better for their friends. So, thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. So going to the next person in our speaking list, we have Moises from FJCPHA.
Chair Moises Carter from FJCPHA Philippines. So on behalf of the Federation of Pharmacists Association, we would like to thank Ms. Heidi for helping us throughout the mandate. Thank you so much for always reminding us regarding the special dates we have to remember, and for ensuring that the Federation of Junior Chapters of the Philippine Pharmacists Association are well aware of the activities, events, and competitions you are doing in the Federation. But I would like to ask a question. This is a very sensitive question, so bear with me. Connected, you mentioned here that for membership expansion on progress, connected with the China Federation of Medical Students Association, and receive contacts to the club of pharmacy students in a university in China. I would like to ask, as the RO, what did you, the points you took or the points you considered in ensuring both that one member association will be added while also ensuring that the other associations here who have conflicts with the country will not be disregarded. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Moises. So a point of information, we have reached the time limit of 10 minutes for the discussion. So I am opening the floor if there are any proposers to extend the time limit for the Regional Relations Officer discussion. Okay, thank you. Isma Farsi, can I clarify how many minutes would you like to extend the discussion? It will depend on the assembly on how long you would like to have the discussion with the RRO.
That your portfolio is a direct, you're directly related to us, and some of us are very new, some of them are very new here, and it's important for them to know your portfolio in order for them to advance in the federation. So I think that makes will be enough.
Okay, thank you, Amoy. Confirming with Isma Farsi, you would like to extend the discussion for RRO, specifically RRO for 10 minutes. Okay, do we have a seconder? Seconded by FJCPHA. Okay, so for the procedural motion, just to make things faster, do we have votes against this procedural motion? I see none, so we will now be allowing 10 more minutes for the discussion of the RO portfolio. So I will now be passing the floor to Heidi to answer the question from voices.
Points of clarification for the second part of your question. Ensure one association in and ensure the associations who have conflicts. Can you give the microphone?
Thank you, Heidi. Moses from FGCPBJ Philippines. So the question was, what did you do or the points you've taken to ensure that, number one, China might be a new association, while also ensuring that the other countries who have conflicts or conflicts with China that are already inside the IPSF APRO will not be disregarded? Because point of clarification as well, we are using the UN, a list for countries. So if ever China will be coming in, the names of the other countries will have to be modified. So because you have stated here that there are potential addition to the federation. So if they will be inside, what like contacting them? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Moises, for the question. First of all, I would like to appreciate the fact that this point is being raised. I think even though this is a sensitive issue, it's a great value to be discussed. So I'm fully well aware of the conflicts that are happening between China and the members that we already have. But however, I do want to emphasize that IPSF is a non-political, non-religious organization as well. Every single membership expansion step that me and Bill took is never without the approval of IPSF Global. So it's always in coordination with the chairperson of internal relations and IPSF organization membership coordinator. So they always are very aware of the countries that we are targeting. The reason I considered was because, number one, aligned with the theme of moving forward, no one left behind. It is a fact that China is a part of Asia Pacific region. They have pharmacy students living there, same age as you guys probably, wishing to get opportunities like this, but they cannot. So that was my consideration that we should include them as they are in fact in our region. Number two, it was also mentioned, I got the recent opportunity recently to go to Taipei, Taiwan, and meet up directly with the members of PSA Taiwan. Yeah. I communicated with them about how they would feel about us inviting China inside. So technically, other healthcare student organizations, they have China as a member. Like, for example, IFMSA, the Medical Student Association, that's how I got into contact with them. And what they did was that they already have a specific rule in their constitution that would protect their already existing members. So that even though when China gets in, nothing will jeopardize the membership status and also social network of our already existing member organizations. It is not in my capacity to elaborate whether IPSF already has this constitution or not. Maybe Bill would like to clarify. But no matter what happened, me as the RO and also us RWG, we will never disregard the membership status, social network, your contribution, your opportunities to the region, no matter what gets in or what gets out of the region. Yeah, I made it my mission to always include the CPs in the loop of the communication so that it won't look like we're doing something behind. So I keep open communication with the existing member organizations as well and the students. But the consideration of inviting them in is because they also have pharmacy students like you all here, but they don't have the opportunities here in IPSF. And also the pharmacy students in China, I cannot say for sure the condition there right now, but we cannot assume that they have a direct relationship with what's currently happening with the conflict. They are against students, and I think their voice needs to be fairly represented. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. So I'll be giving the chair to Amy for this next question. Next comment.
Thank you, Bill, for the chair. I'll be now passing the floor to Bill for his direct comment to this.
Thank you, Chair. So just to clarify on the point made by Moises and adding on to what Heidi mentioned, inviting China has definitely been a big issue for several years because we all know what's happening currently with UN. But as IPSF stands, we are officially partnered with UN. So we respect the decision of UN. And however, we also want to highlight that we respect Taiwan and Hong Kong as well as members of IPSF APRO. But again, we are following UN as we are officially partnered with them. And as with what Heidi mentioned, we have been consulting as well with different members when it comes to approaching Taiwan. And I think a major consideration for this is that we see pharmacy students of China separate from whatever is happening from their government. So we do want to provide the opportunities we have in IPSF with other pharmacy students in Asia Pacific. I think that is the main reason that we are having this. I think this was also, there were also discussions of this in GAs 10 years ago or more than 10 years ago. So we're now just following up on the current discussion, moving towards making this a reality for the Asia Pacific Regional Office. So I'll be passing back forward to the chair.
Thank you, Bill, for the chair. Oh, sorry. I'll be now passing the chair back to Bill.
Okay, so we have the direct comment from Injit from KNAPS Korea.
Well, thank you, FGCPPHA, for pointing this out, and thank you, Heidi and Bill, for the clarified answers. I was just wondering if the addition of China into our membership of IPSF would have any influence in having PSA Taiwan's membership updated to full membership. Yes.
Thank you. So I'll be adding a point of information. So right now, PSA Taiwan, they do not have rights to full membership. So this was what was discussed more than 10 years ago, that we do respect the decision of UN countries. So PSA Taiwan right now, they cannot have full membership. They cannot have full membership even before. And I believe there was a signed MOU between PSA Taiwan and also the General Assembly of IPSF back in 2009 about applications for full membership. Thank you. So if you want to comment. So we are now moving to a direct comment from Moises from FGCPHA Philippines.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moises Carter from FGCPHA Philippines. I know this is not the right time to discuss about the application of China, but I would like to ask if you are well aware regarding the specificities of the IPSF regarding the naming of PSA Taiwan and Hong Kong. If ever China will be included, have you already consulted with IPSF Global if they will be changing the name of PSA Taiwan and PSA HK Hong Kong, and with the addition of China? Because if you have said a while ago that we will be following UN, and if we will be following UN, only China will be in the list as a country. So if they will be included in the association, have you already consulted with IPSF Global regarding the naming of these existing associations and the addition of the new association? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Moises. So I'll just be giving a point of information. So right now, what we have for Taiwan and Hong Kong as well, we do not have their country names within the parliamentary system, within the considerations of IPSF. So for example, for PSA Taiwan, we call them PSA Taiwan, not PSA Taiwan. So that is the current condition right now when it comes to naming. So that has already been decided as well in previous assemblies. Okay, additional information from Heidi.
Yeah, and I think this decision was also already been discussed with the member organizations themselves, with PSA Taiwan and also PSA HK, that we won't be mentioning their countries. This is in no way disregarding their position and contribution in IPSF APRO. We'll always value PSA Taiwan and PSA HK as as honorable members and strong pillar of IPSF APRO, then now and in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. We have now finished the additional 10 minutes requested for the discussion for the Regional Relations Officer. So I will now be closing the floor for discussion. Okay, so I will now be closing the floor for discussion, and now we will be voting on motion number 10. That states this: the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the annual report of the Regional Relations Officer of the IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office for 2022 to 23. All those against, please raise your voting cards. All those who abstain, please raise your voting cards. And all those for, please raise your voting cards. Okay, so I see 12. Okay, so we have 12 votes for, 0 against, and 0 abstain. Motion carried unanimously. Okay, so we are now moving on to motion 11 that states this: the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the annual report of the Regional Projects Officer of the IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office for 2022 to 23. I will now be passing the floor to Mentri Sangmiang, IPSF APRO Regional Projects Officer.
Good morning, all. This is Manjri Sangmiang, your Regional Project Officer for the mandate 2022 to 2023. Thank you for the floor, Bill. I would like to start with what I can summarize in 2 sentences after working as an RPO. Working in projects requires leadership, kindness, and a gentle touch to bring out the best in everyone. That's been my motto ever since the first day I was selected in the 25th Regional Assembly. First of all, I would like to say that regarding the post-pandemic projects, we have learned the ability that we can conduct all the projects online, and it could go well with a really good management. So therefore, even though we are back on site now and we are sitting here at APS, I would like to say that the projects continue online so that we provide the accessibility to all in every region. So those who couldn't come here could also have the chance and a glimpse to their projects. And I would like to start it off with the public health. If you could refer this to the report I submitted, the very first project we started is actually the World Mental Health Day. It was a 2-day course webinar that we provided to start off the school year so that our members could, check back on their mental health. This was a very good opportunity for me to start wonder and have a question, which we'll be referring to the pharmacy education later on in the project. But I would like to focus on this, that we have been partnering up with UCA. And UCA has provided us a discount so that the pharmacy student around Asia Pacific region has access to mental health providers, including psychiatrists and psychologists. I see that what we have in common, no matter how long you study, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, stress is a common thing. So mental health has been something that I have been focusing so much and will continue to do so. The second thing was something that Bill mentioned. It was a great success that we could combine 4 health student organizations together: IBSA, IFMSA, IPSF APRO, and also IADS. This was a good collaboration that we have with the University of Manchester. We have provided a basic course of antimicrobial resistance that you all here can also access. If you go back to check, you could get information about what is going on right now. Antimicrobial resistance is a very important thing that we should tackle. It may be not a sexy topic for every sponsors, but I think us as pharmacy students are very focusing on this, and we should be knowledge about the problem. Think about what it is. Antibiotics today that we are learning might not be working anymore in the future. That's why we are really focusing on antimicrobial resistance. Next is the celebration of the World Cancer Awareness and also Women in Leadership. This year, we have a statement from pharmacy women from around the world. We have Miss Korea, who live in the US, and also a woman. She's researching with NASA to do a pharmacy in space. So that's bringing the new perspective to IPSF APRO. She's actually from Malaysia. So from Malaysia to moon, how could she do it? You can also check out on the statement. And the last one that we have been passing is the World No Tobacco Day. If you could see that we also have ongoing projects with the public health campaign. It's called World Environmental Day. I have been certified facilitator from Climate Press. They are providing basic courses on climate change to everyone. And I highly encourage you in the future. We are going to open a workshop for all of you, and then we will provide it climate hackathon later, so that pharmacy students can work together to tackle not just AMR that was mentioned earlier, but also the climate change, because we only have one Earth that we are standing on together. Moving forward, I would like to say that there will be future projects that you could see on the list. One I want to mention is the World Patient Safety Day, which will be collaborating with the World Pharmacist Day in the pharmacy education that I'm going to starting on right now. Literature review competition was initiated last year by Angela, so I did it again this year, and we expanded topics to not just one, but 4. The participant has a chance to review it, and we have participants not just from Asia Pacific region, but also from IPRO. So I see the literature review as a chance for everyone to explore themselves and learn how to become a good researcher. We already concluded the study, and we have awarded all the winners. And the ongoing projects that I really would like to introduce to you guys, this is an inter-regional project. It's called Journal Club. IPRO, APRO, PARO, APRO, and also Euro are going to work together to host the first journal club, where we are providing trainers, and also everyone around the world can join if you are pharmacy students. This is actually a good initiative that RPO from around the world think that we could finally bring something to the table. It was recommended by Angela last mandate that we should expand our relation with the other regions. I mark this as our successful first step. And the next one is actually our collaboration with IPSF Global. It's the International Scientific Conference that we are going to host. We usually host a competition that you can participate, but this time is time where you can showcase your work that you have been doing through pharmacy school. You have thesis, you have poster. Thank you.
Thank you. We have. Yep. So Mesh, would you need some more time? So since RPO would need more time, I would like to assess the floor if you would like to extend by 2 minutes. If yes, thumbs up. If no, thumbs down. I see thumbs up, so we will be extending by 2 minutes.
Thank you for the floor, Bills. It's really hard to conclude all 10 pages into 5 minutes, but I would thank you for 2 minutes more. So if ever the International Scientific Conference will be the first initiative that we would like you guys to promote it among our members, because this is a part where I would like all of us to connect not just with our region, but also with the other 5 regions and IPSF Global. Moving forward with professional development, we have antimicrobial awareness hackathon, which is both a public health celebration and also our professional development competition. We also have the regional competitions, which this year I initiated a pharmacy trivia competition so that our members do not have to stress and can enjoy the time before starting the actual regional competitions, which includes CSE, ISE, CE, and PCE. And lastly, we already did the leaders in training 3 days ago. It was a great success. I'm very proud of our LIT this year. Even though we have 7 participants, I'm very sure that next year we'll have more to come. And the ongoing forward is that we are trying to host a minute scale career fair so that pharmacy students in Asia Pacific region could learn about pharmacy profession and pave the way into becoming a professionals, not just from your country, but all. So that maybe if you're interested in going trans-regionally, it will be your opportunity. So in conclusion, I would like to say that all my members has been working very hard. This year, we stepped outside of our comfort zone from computers to working together on site and both online. I wouldn't have done it without them. And I would like to say that the future consideration is that what I would like to suggest to the next successor is that please stay updated with the latest development in pharmacy field. This year we have proposed a lot of projects and has been challenging, and that there are some projects that we couldn't do, but it doesn't mean that the following years cannot. So what I'm saying is that the past is the past, the future is in our hand, and today is also our work. Thank you for listening to me. You have been amazing, and I have been Manchuri. Thank you for the floor.
Thank you, Manchuri, for the perfect time management. So we're now moving to the speaking list. We have Moises from FJCPHA Philippines.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moises Carter for FGCPPJ Philippines. On behalf of FGCPPJ Philippines, we would like to thank you, Sherry, for your hard work and the entire regional projects subcommittee for this throughout this mandate. And we appreciate your hard work, your dedication, and your effort in uplifting your portfolio. My question is, I have seen here that a lot of your coordinators have stepped down from their roles as coordinators. So with that, as the outgoing RPO, do you think that we should decrease or there should be amendments with the number of workloads we give to the subcommittee members? Why or why not? Thank you.
Thank you, Moises. So before we proceed to the answer, I believe the direct comment was made before the new comment was finished. So I believe this statement is out of order. So we'll be taking it out of the speaking list first. Please make sure to use the correct term, new comment or direct comment. Thank you. So we will be, I'll be passing the floor to Manju to answer.
Thank you, Moses, for the question. I would like to first explain how my leadership style works. So in my workflow, I do believe and trust in my subcommittee. That's why coordinators, the people that I'm talking with regarding the projects first. So I do see that as an opportunity that we have learned that maybe passing all the workloads to my coordinators might be challenging for them as well because they are also balancing their school year. I have in and out ongoing coordinators. One was working very hard, but then when it comes to the time to the hardship, what I could do is understand and ask him to know his duty, and then we agree on letting him go and giving the position to someone else. Regarding the workloads, would I consider change my leadership style? I would say that it's more of an adjustable things because each person actually requires different leaders. Some of my subcommittee actually like to listen and take orders because it's easier for them and save their time in designing, but some of them are very creative. So I also give them time to, propose the projects. What I think I could say is unique from this year is that sometimes the project takes longer because I let my subcommittee decide what they want to do. And because it hasn't been the nature of them to decide, on let's say on-site and online project at the same time. It needs some time for them to adjust. But I think it was a good investment in letting them learn because if they're not working with IPSF APRO in the future, at least they are equipped with the development that they get from IPSF APRO. So if you ask me why, should I change it? I would say that it's changing all the time, and I would be happy to do so depending on the person I'm managing. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Mentri. Next on the speaking list is Jennifer from BMFF UNAIR, Indonesia.
Thank you for the floor. So my name is Jennifer from BMFF UNAIR, Indonesia. First of all, I would like to say thank you for your continuous hard work for this mandate. And moving on to the question, for World No Tobacco Day, you aim to promote cessation of smoking by reaching out to the pharmacists in the region. How did you communicate with the respective pharmacists and persuade them in promoting the material given to them? Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'll be passing the floor to Mentri now.
Thank you for the floor, Jennifer. But I would like to first clarify that the World No Tobacco Day for the celebration, we have been posting the educational material that has been approved by our team. So as of now, we are moving forward to the next step where we are going to initiate the APRO Focus project. So at the moment, it's in the process of contacting the right person to give you the information. So I cannot answer the questions now, but I will be very happy if you would like to participate in our APRO Focus project in the future. So in conclusion, World No Tobacco Day will be a good project to collaborate with World Environmental Day because this year's theme is called We Need Food, Not Tobacco, and is highly related to the environmental issue in Asia Pacific region. So if ever, we also have a climate hackathon that you guys can join later. Thank you for the floor.
Thank you, Mentri. So we have a new comment from Amy, IPSF APRO Secretary.
Thank you, Bill, for the floor. I'm Amy, IPSF APRO Secretary. I'd just like to state, naturally, on behalf of the IPSF APRO RWG, congratulations on such a hard working and well done mandate so far as RPO. Personally, as a close friend and team member, I've seen a lot of the challenges that you have overcome, and to have such a successful and still be able to produce many qualitative projects for IPSF APRO. So not only that, you've also been an incredible friend and person to work with. Your passion for your role and your optimism, and I have to admit, your baby Maximus always brings a great smile to our meetings. And I just want to say, I wish you all the best luck in whatever future endeavors you have. And I will surely miss working with you and as part of this RPG. So thank you once again for all that you've done for IPSF APRO.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Up next, we have Joshua from FJCPPHA.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Joshua from FJCPPHA Philippines. So my question is, in the Philippines, particularly our university, the IPSF has a reputation of providing certificates rather late, which can be quite discouraging for a lot of students to be joining our events. So my question is, what changes have been made during your mandate to streamline and expedite the process of making and distributing certificates to your participants? Also, an additional question is, have you distributed the certificates for the World Mental Health Day collaboration with UCA? Because
Oh, no,
we have
no, I'm just nodding for your question.
we haven't received ours yet, and it was in October, so it's my question.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Joshua. Unfortunately, since those are two questions, those are considered two new comments. So Manj, please answer only the first comment now. Joshua, if you want to ask about the second question, please make another new comment.
Thank you for the floor, Bill, and thank you for your question, Joshua. I would say that at the very beginning of the mandate, distributing the certificates has been a bit challenging because we also have certificates from the past mandate that we have to be distributing. Also, after that's done for the first 3 months, if we go back to all the regional competitions, for example, PD competitions, I would say that we managed to distribute the certificates within the range of time, so within the month. And if ever somebody is in need of the certificates, we usually prioritize the whole things. And I would like to extend thanks to the RPO team, because they already, once we requested, not just one, but all the certificates were ready. So with the certificates, sometimes there has been some problem and some challenges in terms of names, and sometimes there are a lot of priorities. And this year we not only have just projects from the project portfolio, but we have a lot of projects from the RRO secretary and also the RMPO as well. So I would say that it's highly adjusted among the portfolio that we need the priority. So sometimes maybe the project certificates are very late, and I apologize for that, but we will try to improve upon, and we'll keep our standard within 1 month of the end of the competition. Thank you.
Thank you, Manjri. So we have a direct comment from Don, our IPSF APRO RMPO.
Thank you for the floor. Don, RMPO. So I would just like to speak with regards to the creation of certificates, since it is my portfolio that handles the creation of these certificates once they have submitted this certificate proposal. So I think with regards to the World Mental Health Day certificates, I think there kind of was a problem with the cosign that we had to have before we could distribute the certificates as well. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Don. If we can update the speaking list, please. Okay, please wait a few seconds while we update the speaking list. Okay, up next we have Karakot from PSAT Thailand.
Okay, thank you for the floor. I'm Noel from PSAT Thailand. I'm very appreciate you working hard, Manjri. As I saw you in the campaigns, in the annual report, you have many campaigns from the health campaign. I have one thing in my country. We have something like cannabis legally for a medication, but actually in the real world, they have some abuse of cannabis. Do you have any campaign for this for the next, for me, so suggestion for me? Thank you, and pass the floor to Manjri.
Thank you, Karakot. Pass the floor to Manjri.
Thank you for your question, Dorgot. And I think Thailand has a very unique laws that has been legalized, not just one, but two. We have cannabis and we also have the other plants that is highly illegal in the whole country, in the whole Asia Pacific region. I would like to say that if ever we have to have a campaign, as it's not it's not like highly legalized by the other nations, and as IPSF APRO, we are focusing more on the whole, not just one country. So if ever Thailand needs to do a promotion on that campaign, I would be happy to support you in terms of coming up with the solution or any other suggestion that you need from me. However, I would like to say that on behalf of IPSF APRO and myself as the regional project officer, I wouldn't be able to support something that is just for one country, but for all. So with cannabis, since it's illegal, I would say that it would probably not be our like duty to cover on that. But what I could suggest is that do whatever you think is best. And if it's your country, then be proud of it. And if ever you would like to promote it, we have all the members organization that you could pass news to. So we could use a channel of email sending or communicating with them. And we also have Facebook and social medias, and that will be the part where you can connect to the whole region by individually and personally. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Manjri. So we have reached the 10-minute limit for the discussion. So we will now be closing the floor for discussion. We are now voting on motion 11 that states this, that 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the annual report of the Regional Projects Officer of the IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Office for 2022 to 2023. All those voting against, please raise your voting cards. All those abstaining, please raise your voting cards. And all those for, please raise your voting cards. I see 12. Okay, results are out. We have 12 votes for, 0 against, and 0 abstain. Motion carried unanimous. Okay, so we are now on motion 12. That states this, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the annual report of the chairperson of the 22nd IPSF Asia Pacific Pharmaceutical Symposium 2023. So I will now be giving the floor to Mr. Baron Christopher Sumantro, chairperson of AP.
Good morning, everyone. With this, I hereby. That's one.
Sorry, we have a clarification from FJCPH Philippines.
Again, Mr. Chair, Moises from FJCPH Philippines, we would like to ask regarding the PDF of Baron's report regarding the location of the Google Drive. Is it under the report of the RWGs or under a specific folder? Thank you.
Thank you, Moises. So it is under APPS report. So it's number 3.
Right, do you want me to say?
Yep.
Okay. So if you go into the RA folder for official delegates, under the subfolder 5 reports, there's another subfolder called 3 APPS reports. In that subfolder, there's 2 different folders for APPS 2023, this one, and then APPS 2024 for next year. So you'll find it in APPS 2023. Okay, so you find it. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will now be giving the floor back to Mr. Baron for his annual report.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I hereby submit my report to the Regional Assembly. It is a personal joy for all of us that are RC to bring APPS back to Jakarta after 10 years, and an honor to introduce you to this amazing city. The uncertainty of the COVID-19 pandemic has posed significant challenges to the RC. Therefore, we have to come up with 2 plans of holding APPS in person and online. But after further discussion and considering the current condition, we finally decided to organize this year's APPS as an in-person event. That being said, it becomes crucial for us to stay updated with the latest guideline. Therefore, flexibility and adaptability have become the essential quality that we strive to provide memorable experience for all of you. For this year, the RC chooses the main theme of the role of pharmacists in implementing SDGs after the pandemic and more, highlighting the importance of implementing the UN Sustainable Development Goals by 2030 and how us as a future pharmacist can help in implementing said goals beyond the scope of the third goal, which is good health and well-being. As you can see, I provided you the registration fees and dates. We have 3 regular packages for phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 with various prices from 345 euros to 400 euros. We also opened a special package for Indonesian, which doesn't, in which we will not provide the accommodation. We also provide an alumni package, a leader in training, and a symposium tour. Post-symposium tour, I'm sorry. For the programs that has been held yesterday, we have 3 symposium themes that delved into the main theme that we proposed, which is zero waste and green synthesis, green drug synthesis, research and development of new vaccine, and health inequity and racism in healthcare workers. For educational workshops, we have 5 workshops, social feature in pharmacology, tackling poverty issues and providing nationwide healthcare services, how to handle and minimize medical waste, improving health insurance system coverage and service quality, and epidemiology 101. For the cultural workshop, we will take you to the Texari Cultural Village, in which we will learn traditional performance art and batik. Will happen to this day. Therefore, we raise the theme of Happy Beats, Rhythm for Health, which will be followed by Indonesian Cultural Games competition. The event will be held in a baseball field of Universitas Gajah Mada. We will be also taking you to an excursion trip focusing and introducing of Indonesian traditional drink called jamu. And we will embark on a captivating excursion to the Wisata Jamu Kiringan and immerse yourself in the world of Indonesian traditional herbal drinks. For social night event, we will have 5 social night events from welcoming night and opening ceremony, Indonesian local food fest, Indonesian night in Pandi Prambanan, where we will go to tonight, international night and Kawan night. For competitions, we will be holding the usual IPSF competitions such as PCE, CSE, CE, ISE, and poster competition, with the addition of law competition, in which we want to provide a space for creativity for the pharmacist student, not only through poster competition, but also through law competition. And next page, you can see the schedule for LIT, APPS, and PST. For the reception committees, we have divided into 3 sectors: internal affairs, programs, and external affairs. And the next slide, we have provided you the list of venues and then the Google Map pin if you want to look into details of each venue. For sponsorship, the reception committee, with the help of RRO, managed to secure some of our sponsors. There are some sponsors that I haven't put in here, which is Medion, Ortindo, and Bank Jateng. And last but not least, for our sustainability report, we are trying our best to implement environment sustainability beyond our symposiums and workshop topics. One of the ways we managed to put this is by reducing the single use of plastic cups. Though I noticed that this promise has not been completely implemented, but we are trying to do our best to fulfill the sustainability promise by the end of the symposiums. Lastly, for our self-evaluation, willing to host ABPS during this uncertainty period, the ABPS RC understands that the road ahead of us will not be easy. And it clearly shows throughout the 2 years of planning event up until the final few months. Having to change our plans a few weeks before the event, was definitely one of the biggest challenges that our team has overcome. However, I could not be more proud of my team for overcoming each and every challenges effectively, and we really hope that we can deliver the best for ABPS 2023. For final remarks, I do recognize the full event and eventually this report would not be possible without the help of the full RCs. Thus, I would like to express my greatest gratitude to my vice directors and to my vice directors. I would also like to thank the APRO RWG for their advice and insights throughout these uncertain times. And lastly, I would like to personally thank the people that help us along the way, whether I can mention the one that I cannot mention one by one. Lastly, I would like to apologize if your stay in Yogyakarta has fallen short of your expectation, and please do let us know if there's anything that we can make your stay in Yogyakarta even better. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Baron. We will now be moving on to the open discussion. Our first comment will be from Moises, FJCPH.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moises Carter from FGCPPJ Philippines. So I think I could speak on behalf of our delegates from the Philippines that we're currently enjoying our stay here. And it's all thanks to Baron and your team, the directors, as well as the staff of the APPS. Thank you so much for accommodating us here. And I could say that it's not below expectations. It's really beyond our expectations. Like the activities, especially what happened yesterday, last night, it was beyond expectations. And congratulations. And yeah, early congratulations to the team, especially to Baron. Yeah. Of course, after the compliments, I have to ask a question. Okay. Sandwich method. Okay. Regarding the PD competition, so I think it's already stated in the documents that the official language for the competitions will only be English. And seeing that the participants are mostly Indonesians and the judges are also mostly Indonesians. So as the APPS chairperson and speak on behalf of our directors for the PD competitions, what did you do in order to ensure that only English language will be considered in their competitions? Because, for example, in poster competitions, some of the members who join the poster competitions are not very good in English. So technically, if they will be explaining a specific point, it will be hard for them to explain it in English rather than their own language. As for the Indonesian people, it will be easier for them to speak in English or to speak or to explain themselves in Indonesian since the judges are Indonesian. So to make it short, how did you ensure that only English language will be accepted by the judges? Thank you.
Thank you, Moises. Passing the floor to Brian.
Okay, thank you so much, Moises, for your question. One of our ways for us to ensure that the English would be the only accepted language for the competition, one of those is for us to brief the judges that it is that we only accept English as the method of delivery for the language. Moreover, I think there will be part of the, if I'm not mistaken, the grading rubrics for conciseness. I forgot which part, but basically it would mention. So I think that would be one of the ways that we implement on like language of delivery for the competition. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Baron. Up next on the speaking list, we have Francisca from Bemkamafa. Okay, I'm Indonesia.
Okay, thank you, Chair, for the floor. I'm Cisco from BEMKANA 5GM. Dear Kabaron, on behalf of BEMKANA 5GM and all the RCs of APPS, I would like to extend our sincerest congratulations on your exceptional efforts and heartwarming guidance on preparing for the APPS. We are well aware that these past 2 years hasn't been easy for us and have presented numerous challenges with ups and downs aplenty. However, thanks to your invaluable support, I am and successfully brought this event to fruition as you embark on your future in your first, particularly the pharmacist license test scheduled for 24 till 26 July. We wish you the very best and hope your journey ahead is filled with greatness. Thank you, and giving back the floor to the chair.
Thank you, Cisco, for your comments. Next, we have Linjay from KNAP Republic of Korea.
Thank you for the floor. This is Minjae from KNAP's Korea. I feel pressurized after having a question after these sweet atmosphere. I do want to express our deepest gratitude for having you having to prepare all these wonderful events. All our delegates are very satisfied about this event, and yesterday's local food fest was really truly amazing, and thank you so much. But after these compliments, I think I do have to point out a question that you might feel sensitive to answer. So the first promotional material that the apps team has provided us with, the last date of our event was supposed to be planned on the 9th of July, where after the promotional material, our delegates have booked our flights where we leave from Jakarta on 9th of July. But now the schedule has been delayed after our flights has been booked. And yeah, so most of our delegates are not able to join the gala night, which I would say is one of the most important, most fun events of the APPS. So I was wondering if it's okay to ask for the explanation for the delay of the event and if the apps has any responsibility and the reimbursement of the flights if they really do want one. Thank you.
Thank you, Minjay, for your question. I think thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much, Minjay, for your question. First of all, I would like to apologize on behalf of my reception committee. It feels like I feel like that there's been a miscommunication between us in terms of promoting the dates. In terms of reimbursement, I will check with my team because some of the other delegates also already approached us in the same problem. And also, I think this is an announcement to all of the delegates. Please let us know if you are gonna leave on the 9th, since we do have some souvenirs for you that will be distributed during our night. But yeah, I will try to ask with my team regarding the reimbursement. And yeah, for the explanation, it is fully in a form of a miscommunication between the reception office. Thank you.
Thank you, Baron. Next in the speaking list, we have Manchuri, IPSF APRO.
Thank you for the floor, Bill. My name is Manchuri. I'm the Regional Project Officer for this mandate. On behalf of the entire APPS 2024 team, and as a former chairperson of APPS 2024, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to you for orchestrating such an incredible event like this. Transforming from online to on-site is not easy. I feel like we are having a reverse culture shock to get to meet people in person again. And I'm pretty sure it's been very hard on us to have a meeting here today in the room, but you have done it so well. And you have been very much do your best to accommodate us in any way possible. Hosting an event like this will always cause some troubles and challenges, but you never once flip or, react in such a bad way. You're just like, I will ask my team. And you are truly a team player. And I've seen that you have respect every one of your RC and all of us. So I want to express our sincere appreciation, including the IPPS Chiang Mai as well. You have been supporting us, even though you were juggling between your APPS and our recommending our APPS and join every meeting. We request you to do so. So on behalf of the team and also RWG, I would like to say thank you. And as a friend, I'm very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Manchuri. So do we have any other comments on the board? Okay, so we're giving a few more seconds for any new comments. Okay, I see none, so I will be closing the floor for discussion. We are now voting on motion number 12. That states this, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the annual report of the chairperson of the 22nd IPSF Asia Pacific Pharmaceutical Symposium 2023. All those voting against, please raise your voting cards. All those who abstain, please raise your voting cards. And all those for, please raise your voting cards. Okay, so results are out. We have 12 votes for, 0 against, and 0 abstain. Motion carried unanimously. Okay, so we will be moving on to the next motion, motion number 13. But before we start our discussion, can I assess the floor if we are okay with extending a bit for the financial report? Because we have 10 minutes remaining, and I believe we won't be able to finish the motion in exactly 10 minutes. So we might be extending by maybe 5 to 10 minutes for this motion. So if we are okay with extending for a few minutes, please do thumbs up. If not, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we will be proceeding with this motion. We are now discussing motion number 13. This, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the financial report of the 22nd IPSF Asia Pacific Pharmaceutical Symposium 2023. So I give the floor to Mr. Baron, Chairperson of APPS.
Thank you so much, Chair. Hi again, everyone. Let me bring you the complicated part of APPS, which is our financial report. For as our income, we have four sources of income. The first three are the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 participant, which consists of 21 for phase 1, 41 for phase 2, and 22 for phase 3. And then we have one Indonesian package with 0 alumni registering and with a sponsorship amount of 2,250 euros. For most of it, we will distribute it to 3 teams, which is the first one, the internal. Maybe you can just like go down to the subtotal. For the subtotal for internal team, we would require around 12,273 euros with 245 emergency money. So in total, it would be 12,518 euros. One of the reasons why the number would be so big is because it also covers for the accommodations. Moving on for programs, it consists of competitions, workshops, symposiums, and also your social net events. The subtotal would be 16,990 with a 339 euros emergency fund. It would lead around 17,000 euros. For the external committee, would need around 6,700 euros with 135 emergency funds, which leads to right under 7,000 euros. And then also like an equipment for RA, it would lead around 582 euros with a total number of 37,339 euros. To the right, last part mentioned. There you go. As for right now, we still have around 322 euros in our savings. That's why that I will say that I will discuss with my team regarding fund reimbursement. Moving on to PST. Okay, so PST is pretty easy because we are hiring a travel agent that they would give us the price of 297 euros for the to the airport. That's for the LIT with PST with 17 participants. For LITs, okay, sorry. For LIT with 7 delegates, 1 trainer, and 6 RWGs, we have the income of 32,000 euros. And it is actually we managed to spend almost everything, not almost everything on the dot with also 2,005. With that being said, that is the end of the APPS financial report. I will pass back the floor back to them.
Thank you, Baron. So I would like to open the floor for discussion for this motion. Okay, we have a few more seconds. If there are no comments, we will be closing the floor for discussion. Okay, we have a comment from KNF Republic of Korea.
Thank you for the floor. This is Minjay from KNAPS. I do feel the pain work you have put in for the budget plan. It is very clear and concise, easy to understand. But I was wondering about the same issue, the reimbursement. If the reimbursement plan is don't think it'll be sufficient to like so delegates flying from Georgia to Korea or any other countries. So I was wondering if when the consensus will be made about reimbursement for the flight, and if so, how much it will be reimbursed? Because I need to tell my delegates if they need to delay the flights or if they still have to fly today. Thank you. Tomorrow or the day after, or yeah, maybe it's
Before I give the floor to Brian, I also have a point of information. We actually have an APPS budget within the April budget. So if ever, I think Brian and I will be able to talk more later, and then we can relay this information to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Michi, for your question. I understand the suddenness of requested it pretty last minute. Actually, after I submitted this financial report to Amy, that's why it's not in the plan. However, we still also have like some of the sponsorship money that we haven't put here because the sponsorship will be given after the event. So that's why we did not put it right here. So we really hope with the number of sponsorship that we got after the event, it could sufficiently cover for the reimbursement, maybe partially, not fully. So yeah, that is all from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Baron. So are there any more comments for this motion? Okay, I see no new comments. Closing the floor for discussion, and we will be voting on this motion number 13. This, the 25th IPSF Asia Pacific Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the financial report of the 22nd IPSF Asia Pacific Pharmaceutical Symposium 2022. So all those who vote against the financial report, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those voting for abstain, please raise your voting cards. I see none. All those voting for, please raise your voting cards. I see 12. So the results are out. 12 votes for, 0 against, and 0 abstain. Motion carried unanimously. Okay, so we will now be having our lunch break. So we would like to have a proposer and seconder to suspend the standing orders proposed by FJCPPHA Philippines, seconded by ISMA Farsi Indonesia. So we will now be voting to suspend the standing orders. All those against, please raise your voting cards. We'll be having a roll call for partner organizations.
Yeah, sorry, just before we leave, I just need to call out, do another roll call. So please, when you hear your association name, just put up your hand on the voting card. So Maps India, thank you. ISMA Farsi Indonesia, thank you. APS Japan, thank you. NZEPSO New Zealand, thank you. FJCPPHA Philippines, thank you. KNAPS Republic of Korea, thank you. NUSPS Singapore, thank you. PSAT Thailand, thank you. IPSF India, thank you. BMFUI Indonesia, thank you. BMF UNER Indonesia, thank you. BM Kimafa Unpad Indonesia, thank you. BM Kimpa UGM Indonesia, thank you. BMF USD Indonesia, thank you. HMF AP ITB Indonesia, thank you. UFA Philippines, thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. So please go back to this room at 12:55, 5 minutes before we start the next session for RA. And so we will be having our lunch. So Baron, maybe you can talk about the lunch situation for OTs. Baron?
Everyone, for those of you who will be having